Let's go for another round of Rugby League. We are on. Hey guys, how you going? It's BKRsport. We are live as the Redcliffe Dolphins are going to be taking on the Canterbury Bulldogs in the opening game of round 7 round 7. Gee whiz, no, I'm 3 weeks too buddy late there. Round 10 is what this is. So we are definitely chugging our way through the season, and we are about to get to the midpoint. Obviously, Origin is starting to be discussed. Origin is definitely on the forefront of the minds, because I believe that not this week, but I think it's next week after Magic Round is when we will be told about the team lineups for Queensland versus New South Wales in Game 1. Obviously, we got the old Queensland just gets it, New South in your mouth down there. Obviously, link is in the description. But we've got a big round here because this is a very, very important part of the season. We've gotten past that early stages where you start to figure out how teams are operating. You're trying to figure out kind of what teams are going to be producing overall for the most part this year. Obviously, it doesn't mean that that's going to be how your team operates for the entirety of the year, but it gives you a really good read for what you probably should be expecting, and especially in this middle part of the year and right before we get to the big time bye rounds, because we do only have the one bye this week, which is the Warriors. And then next week, we only have the Raiders who have the bye, who unfortunately missed out of Magic Round. And then in round 12, welcome to the damn well show. You have the Broncos, Eels, Knights, Panthers, Roosters, Sharks, and the Tigers on the bye, because that is the week prior to Origin. And then from there, you're seeing multiple teams on a bye each week. The week after, you've got the Dolphins, Rabbitohs, and the Titans on a bye. Then in round 14, you only get the Warriors on a bye. And then back to business with about 100 teams, the Bulldogs, Cowboys, Dragons, Knights, Panthers, Manly, and Storm on a bye. So we are getting very close to when we're going to see that peak bye season. So that's why it's really, really good if you can manage to get a win, a couple of wins across these next couple of games before you start losing players to Origin. We start having those bye rounds interrupting the season. It's just a full-on schedule, man. So it's exciting, and let's run through the games we're going to be on this weekend. Obviously, we stream every single game live here on the channel, so we'll be here for every single one of them. But let's go through all the games. Then we'll talk about the Dolphins versus Bulldogs game tonight. There's a huge out here for this game, which could be actually interesting in a positive level, but also on a negative level. We'll go into this game, and then we'll obviously talk about the ladder and how teams are shaping up, because it is definitely starting to get important, where you're starting to think about the ladder now. It's not ultimately crucial where you are on the ladder, unless you're the Dragons right now, who have not won a game so far this season. It's crazy to think that we are in round 10, and we're still waiting for the Dragons to win their first game of the year, and if the Knights come in with their high energy, just pressure attack that we've been seeing so far this season, I'm telling you, I don't know if the Dragons win this round as well. So let's get into it, guys. Obviously, hit that like button, subscribe if you are new around here, and let's rock on. So the first game here is obviously the Dolphins versus the Bulldogs. Interesting game where, look, the Dolphins have been, we'll go more in depth into it in a second, but the Dolphins have been good without being great the last couple of weeks. They've been really disappointing throughout the season so far. They got a win against the Storm last week, but also who kind of cares? The Storm have lost 7 games in a row now. They're completely on the back burner. They're in second last right now. They are struggling gigantically. So whilst they did come back and win that, they didn't make it easy for themselves. And they did lose those 2 games to first and second, the Panthers and the Warriors, the 2 weeks prior. But just throwing it out there that they've been good without being great. And they're coming against the Bulldogs team here today, where you're just like, well, the Bulldogs have not even been good. But they had one great game where it was against the Penrith Panthers, and they did win that game by 13+. So this game is a really interesting game here tonight, where the Bulldogs have it in them to obviously explode and get back to winning ways. But also they have it in them to continue this awful attacking style that they have had across the first 10 rounds. So that's this game here tonight at Suncorp Stadium. Then tomorrow we have the Roosters versus the Titans at Polytech Stadium in Gosford. Obviously this just looks like a Roosters 13+ route every day of the week. Obviously I'm a Titans fan, but I will put it out there that the Titans have changed their team up completely. You know, we're debuting Zane Harrison, that I've been calling for literally years now. I've been calling for this. So we had a big blow up on the Titans versus Raiders stream saying, please debut Harrison. I believe it's his time. We're just playing with halves that aren't the future. Push JC to the 6, put Zane Harrison to the 7. Beautiful. That's exactly what Josh Hannay has done. And they've got that new halves pairing there. Also debuting Jensen Talmapo, who looks good in the preseason, and Cooper Bye getting a start as well. So whilst the Roosters do look like they should just win that game 13+, at the end of the day, the Titans could create a bit of a sneaky. They did beat the Roosters last year down at Allianz Stadium. That'll be at Gosford tomorrow. But there is a lot about that game where, again, Roosters should win it confidently. But let's see how this new, fresh-look Titans team does go. Now, in regards to the next game, it was Cowboys versus the Eels. I don't know how Google AI, ChatGPT, whatever source they use to do this schedule this year. I don't know how Cowboys versus Eels ever made sense for a Friday night at 8 p.m. game, but that's what we've got this week. Just a schmozzle. You know, the Cowboys realistically should win that game, but I'm not confident in the Cowboys themselves overall. I'm still waiting for it to equalise itself out, but maybe it just doesn't happen. The Eels have just been dreadful, so, geez, that game... It's not one I'm necessarily looking forward to tomorrow night, but we'll see how it pans out. It could go either way, but you probably would be definitely leaning with the Cowboys based off of their form so far this year. Then on Saturday, to start off the day, we've got Dragons versus the Knights. I'm going to move straight past that game because the Dragons obviously still have not won a game this season, and the Knights, I just don't know if the Dragons can hold out that attack. The Knights' attack might not be, on statistics, the best attack in the comp, but I would make an argument that they could be the best attack in the competition with the way they play. The full frontal, full pressure, just in your face, just throwing their attack down your throat kind of deal. They just slap you down. I just don't know if the Dragons can be a hold out there, but we'll see. They should be desperate for a win there at Wollongong. Then on Saturday, we also have the Rabbitohs versus Sharks. Latrell Mitchell is out at the Core Stadium. I fancy the Sharkies here. I do. I fancy them. They had coming off a big win last week, but that was against the injured Tigers team, but also put the sword to them. When they put the sword to teams, they are ruthless. So that's an interesting game, but without Latrell Mitchell, they've got Ashton Wood in the halfback now rather than Jamie Humphries, who's on the bench, which is interesting to mine. But is a really interesting game that now definitely shapes towards the Sharks for a win, in my personal opinion. We go to the Manly versus the Broncos game on the Saturday night at 4 Points Park in Sydney, Brookvale. That should be a belter of a game. Manly have been absolutely on fire lately, but I will say, I think this has Reece Walsh masterclass written all over it. I think this is a Reece Walsh masterclass game, just waiting to pounce. You know, he had his first game back last week, didn't necessarily excel, but I just get a vibe and a feeling that Reece is going to come into that game. No Tommy T to lock him down as well. I just feel that the Broncos might be able to really push Manly all the way to the end and maybe get a win down there and could get a confident win as well. They really could get a confident win. So whilst Manly have looked good over these last 5 weeks, inclusive of that Panthers loss, they've looked great. The fact of the matter is I just feel like this Broncos team can still definitely salvage a win down there at Brookie. And then we go to Sunday, which is the Storm and the Tigers game. Tigers got a ridiculous amount of outs. I said I'd never tip the Storm again until proven otherwise. I feel like I might do it. I feel like I might do it. I don't know. You just get that feeling that the Storm might finally get that win on the board with all these Tigers injuries, and it's going to hurt the Tigers. And then we finish off the round with Raiders versus the Panthers, which for mine, I'm pretty confident the Panthers just win that game. But there is still a bit about it. You know, the Raiders at least won last week, but against the Titans, so it's a bit of like a who cares kind of deal. And they didn't look fantastic at all. You know, they didn't look great at all, but the Titans just look absolutely awful, as per kind of usual. So that's the round that we have coming up in round 10. Quite a bit going on here. And I just, with the NRL at the moment, with this kind of, with the format, the way that it's playing out as an entire competition as we speak, you just don't know how to pick a result. You know, this year, I kind of just forget about tips. Like tips and what we do in the pre-game when we talk about the game and we give you like what I think might happen, it is just a educated guess because I am educated and we are all educated in regards to what we're watching and what we're seeing and what we're expecting. But that doesn't mean anything in regards to how it's going to play out because we see so many upsets nowadays. We see so many things that just don't make sense. For example, this team is a key example of why this doesn't make sense, this competition. They have lost nearly every game this year. They've been awful. They have not had one, they've had one good game all year long. The Dragons game was not a good game. The Eels game was not Did they play the Eels? Yeah, they did, didn't they? They lost the Eels, sorry. Yeah, exactly. Which they shouldn't have at any stage. Who was the other team that they beat? So the Bulldogs, they beat the Dragons, and they beat the Raiders. So Dragons last, and Raiders until last week were in third last, and were in second last for a lot of the season. Those were their only other two wins, besides the most random win of all time against the Penrith Panthers, who that's the only game the Panthers have lost all season long. The Panthers have only lost one game, and that's the Dogs. And that right there is absolute proof as to why we don't know what is going to happen, despite the fact that we expect the Panthers should have won 13+. But they lost 13+. They didn't just lose. They lost 13+. So when you're hearing tips and you're hearing previews and whatnot, you know, it's just so difficult. You just have to take it as a, well, look, this is what we think is probably going to happen, but I'm telling you, it probably is the opposite. The more you know, the less you know with the rugby league nowadays, which makes it so exciting. And I say that I actually enjoy getting tips wrong because I like to expect something and then bang, the other thing happens. So I'm excited about this game here today. Let's get into the two-team lineup. So the Dolphins, they come into this game from 11th position. The Bulldogs come into this game from 12th position, and this is at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. The Yins here for the Dolphins, Jerry Marshall-King and Cody Nikorima, with the outs being Kurt Donahue and Oren Keeley. The fullback is Hamiso Tabuai-Fado, and the wingers are Jermaine Asako and Selwyn Cobbo. Centres are Jack Bostock and Herbie Farnworth, with the 5'8" being Cody Nikorima comes in, and Isai Katoa is the halfback who is the captain. Then you go to the front row forwards of Thomas Flegler and Francis Molo. The number 9 is Max Plath. The back row, Kaneli Lemuelu and Kulikefu Finifuyaki. And the 13 is Morgan Knowles. Interchange, Bradley Schneider drops to the bench. Ray Stone, Tom Gilbert, Felice Kafusi, Marshall King and Tavita Nafahu. And the coach is Christian Wolf. This Dolphins team has plenty of attack in them, but the emphasis for the Dolphins this year actually hasn't been on their attack. It's been on making themselves a more rounded team, in my opinion, where they are trying to build themselves through their defense, which has been just absolutely awful for years now, but they're trying to build themselves through their defense where then they can earn their right to attack and then earn their right to put a score past you. And that's what you saw in the game against the Cronulla Sharks, where they earned their right to score 38 points against the Sharks. It's like in cricket, in Test cricket, where a guy like Stevie Smith, for the most part, he will earn his right to go for those big-time fours and those big-time shots. He will take as many balls, just let it sit in, just wait his moment, and then he'll pounce at the right moment. You know, guys like Travis Head will just go all out from the start, realistically. But with Steve Smith and the guys like Marnus Labuschagne, not that his form has been spectacular, the point is that they try to earn their right to be able to go for those big shots. And that's what I'm really appreciating from the Dolphins this year. Even though it's not necessarily working out and going to plan for them at the moment, it is a better thing for their long-term future. Not necessarily this year, but their long-term stature of the game and the way that they are progressing as a club into their 4th year now. This is definitely something they should be emphasising. So they obviously lost the game to the Rabbitohs 40-30 in the first game of the season. Now that does kind of link up with that high attack, no defence style that we were expecting based off of last year and the way they play. But then they came up against the Titans. They were down 14-0, came back to win 18-14 in the last 20 minutes. Their defence was a lot better in this game. Their attack wasn't clicking until the last 20, but also the Titans, as they usually do, threw the game away themselves in a lot of ways. Wasn't a spectacular win for the Dolphins by any means, but then the prime example was that game against Cronulla, down there in Cronulla. Well, the Dolphins weren't looking great. The Sharkies, they had one big win against the Gold Coast and then one big loss against the Panthers. You still expected the Sharks to win that game. They just tanked it in. They just absolutely tanked it up, man. And the Dolphins, they earned their right to score, and they absolutely slapped them in that second half, which was really appreciative. But then they go against the Broncos. They lost 26-12. The biggest hit to the Dolphins season this year was the loss to Manly. The Manly had not won a game through the first 4 rounds. They had a bye and 3 losses, right? And they just sacked Anthony Seibold. Kieran Foran comes in. Now, granted, Manly went on a 4-game win streak against who? And then lost to the Panthers, but in a close one. Granted, they went on a 4-game win streak from this game. However, the Dolphins should never have been giving up 52 points to that Manly team. They really should have been. And it just really was an absolute shock to the system. So the Dolphins in that game, and it was 52-0 at one stage as well. So that is a game that really does hit your confidence in regards to this team, because that is entirely possible. If their defense isn't clicking, they can give up that many points, and their attack clearly wasn't clicking for the most part too. And they only scored 18, but that was also in the dying minutes. Like 5 minutes ago, they scored 3 tries. You're just like, whatever. You know, you just, cool. You scored 3 tries, but it didn't mean anything. It's just consolation tries. That was a bad one. But then they went to the bye. And then since the bye, they've looked pretty good. They lost to the Panthers 23-22. That's a good loss. It's a close loss. It's a good loss in the context of things, because the Panthers have only lost 1 game all season. And the Dolphins actually rocketed back into this game. Probably deserved to win it, but the Panthers just know how to win their games, right? And then you go to the Warriors game where they lost 20-18. The Warriors are in second, actually equal first with a bye right now. So once this round kicks off in 35 minutes' time, the Warriors will go equal top with the Panthers. It's just the points differential. The Panthers will keep them in first position. So this is actually a pretty positive loss here for the Dolphins too, where they feel like they probably should have won the game, but you know, the Warriors are looking really good this year. But then last week against the Melbourne Storm, I don't really know how to put it, because they were not good until they were. When the Storm tired out at the back end of the game, the Dolphins just had way too much endurance and stamina for them and just ran it in home. Just absolutely slapped them home in the end, because the Storm at halftime, they did lead 10-4, but you do typically see it. If a team scores right before halftime, that team will, unless it's a blowout already, that team will typically go on to win the game. And that's exactly what the Dolphins did. They scored in the 38th minute through Selwyn Cobbo, and then the second half, it was just Isako, Bostock, and then Finifuiaki, and just ran rampant there at Suncorp. So, whilst the Storm are second last, it was still a good way of them showing that they earned it through their defence. They earned their right to smash the Storm through their defence. It all came off the back of holding out numerous sets on the line. Still haven't been great, but it's just a trajectory for what the Dolphins are showing. So that is a positive sign to see from the Dolphins, and that's why I'm giving them their positive recommendations. I still think that they're nowhere close to the team that we need them to be right now, and that a lot of people were expecting them in the preseason. I copped a lot of criticism, actually, preseason and in the early parts of the season, where I said the Dolphins, I don't have them in the top 8 at all. We had some people saying minor premiership. We had some people saying top 4, and we had majority, I'd say a good 60 to 70% of the NRL community putting the Dolphins in the top 8. And I didn't have them in the top 8. And I couldn't see it because we based off of last year, there was no reason to believe that their defense was going to improve. And we know that they've got attack. But in the beginning part of this year, the attack wasn't clicking because they were trying to fix their defense, which has been beneficial to their season, in my opinion. So do I have them in the top 8 now? Well, if they can keep up this defense and they can keep... and we are... I know a lot of people have been asking me to do my preseason kind of change up over the last couple of weeks. We are going to do it this week, and the reason being is I was going to do it yesterday or Tuesday. I was going to do it, and I actually had the stream set up for it. But then I decided, let's wait till round 10. We're in round 9 right now. Let's wait for the 10 rounds, and that's just a clean 10 rounds that we can go over, and then we can do our updated ladder predictions, right? Like a power rankings in a sense. I don't know if I would still have the Dolphins there. I don't know. I still need to see a lot more from them. This game, maybe actually a lot more proof for what the Dolphins can do than you would think. Not because the Dogs are anything spectacular this year, but I think the Dogs are going to be up for this game. I think they will be. So if the Dolphins can come through and win this game, then I do feel like that will prove to you that they have adjusted the way that they play. And I don't even necessarily want to see them blow it out from the start. I want to see them have to earn their right to score, because that is the beneficial to what this team has been showing this season for mine. Let's move over to the Canterbury Bulldogs, where their ins, Harry Hayes, Jethro Renakama, Logan Spinks and Sean O'Sullivan are in, with the outs being Jake Turpin, Kurt Mann, Marcelo Montoya and Matt Burton, big out there. The fullback is kind of Tracy, with the wingers being Jonathan Sewer and Anari Tuala. Centers of Bronson Seri and Stephen Crichton, who is the captain. The 5'8", interestingly enough, is Sean O'Sullivan, with the halfback being Lachlan Galvin. The front row forwards are Samuel Hughes and Leo Thompson. I think it's a big game coming from him today, with Bailey Hayward in the number 9. The back row is Sitili Tupanua and Jacob Preston, with the 13 being Jamie Salmon. And then the interchange is Alec Olasimi Jones, Harry Hayes, Josh Curran, Lipoi Hopoi, Jethro Renakama and Logan Spinks, with the coach being Cameron Serraldo. My biggest question mark here is that Lachlan Galvin is a 6. I do not believe he's a 7. Now, granted, he's actually scored nearly a majority of your tries this season. Like, Lachlan Galvin's been scoring a few tries in the last few weeks. So, whilst people have been criticising him for his attacking creativity on regards to setting up plays, he's actually scoring tries, which, again, leans me to pushing him more so into the 6. I believe that he is a 6. I do not believe he's a 7, just like with Jaden Campbell. I think Jaden Campbell is a fantastic player at the Gold Coast Titans. I love him, and I want him to stick with us, and I want him to crack on with the Gold Coast Titans. But he's a 6, not a 7. And now, Josh Hannay has put Jaden Campbell into the 6, with Zane Harrison coming into the 7. I would have done this. I would have tested it out. I would have actually... Not that I think that Sean O'Sullivan is necessarily a 7, but I don't think they've got a 7 right now on this roster as we're seeing here today. So I would have chanced the arm to throw in Lachlan Galvin and just to see kind of what he can produce in that 6 and let Sean O'Sullivan run the team, because Galvin running the team has not been great. It has not been spectacular. You're kind of flogging a dead horse here. So whilst Galvin is in the 7, I would have preferred to see him in the 6. I would have loved to have seen Mitchell Woods, but I believe that he is still injured right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bulldogs fans in the chat. I believe Mitchell Woods is still injured. I would have loved to have seen Galvin go to the 6 and Mitchell Woods to the 7, but that is obviously not the case here today, due to, I believe, the injury. But the big one that I'm looking for here for the Dogs today is Leo Thompson. He is a bopper. He had a pretty good game last week. I think he might have made a couple of... Was it last week he made a couple of errors, or it was the week beforehand? It might have actually been last week against the Cowboys. He may have made a couple of errors late on in the game. Let me just quickly go and have a look here. Player stats, Bulldogs, and where is he? Leo Thompson played 57 minutes. 19 runs for 161 run meters, and now we're talking. That's huge with 63 post contact, 3 tackle breaks in the game. He had 2 offloads. He had 41 tackles made, 1 missed tackle. That's spectacular stuff. I think it was just a couple of errors late on. No, was there an error? Yeah, he had 3 errors. So the 3 errors was the crunch to his game. He had a really good game. Leo Thompson was actually very good in this game. However, those errors just really crunched him. And that's what makes people think that, maybe Leo Thompson has been a bit of a bust signing. He is not. And I think he's going to break out in this game here today. And I'm actually going to predict him as a try scorer today. Just because I think that he needs to establish himself at this Canterbury Bulldogs team. They need that leader in the front row forwards, especially with Samuel Hughes not being the leader. He's going to do his job, but he's not the leader. Leo Thompson needs to have a gangbuster game here today where he can produce against this Dolphins team, where I feel like Leo is just going to really put in a big shift. So that is a sneaky shout for an anytime try scorer, and I just fully expect him to have a big bolster of a game. So just keep an eye on Leo Thompson. But in regards to their season so far, I don't need to tell you too much, you dogs, because everyone knows how their season's gone. They beat the Dragons 15-14 very controversially at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas in round 1. That was a disappointing win. And the reason why I say that was a disappointing win is because congratulations on the 2 points. That's great. You need those 2 points right now. But it should have been a draw. It was controversial. And the Dragons, since that point, have not won a game this season through 9 rounds going into the 10th round. And it's unlikely they even win this week kind of deal. We're still wondering when they get a win. So, the point is that the Bulldogs didn't really explode in that game. And the Dragons, everyone's saying their defense was great. No, it wasn't. It's just the Bulldogs attack. They can't attack. And that's just a fact at this point. The Bulldogs are the second worst attacking team in the competition. You go into the stats. The Bulldogs have scored 145 points this season. The only team that has scored less points than them this year is the St. George Illawarra Dragons. So that should tell you everything you need to know. Because from the Bulldogs to third last, well, it's actually not too much there with the Titans. The Titans have had a very underwhelming attacking year, which is why they changed the halves. But then from them and above, there's a gap between like the Raiders and the Storm and the Eels and whatnot. Like the Eels, they've scored 315 points. 315 points, they're in third last. They're scoring points. They've got the worst defense in the competition by a long way, Parramatta. A long way. And the Dogs lost to them. And the Dogs lost to them. That's the point there. So anyway, they lose. They win that game against the Dragons, but it's a bit like, whatever, cool, take the 2 points, run. Bye. And then you play the Raiders. You won 14-10. You're just like, well, it wasn't spectacular. It was awful conditions. It was pouring down rain. It was just absolutely dreadful. But the Raiders were in second last at the time, hadn't won a game yet, I don't believe. Or maybe they had won 1 game, because I think when they went into their game against the Sharkies in round 4 or 5, I think they were both 3-1, maybe. Oh, sorry, 1-3 maybe? I could be wrong anyway. The point is that the Raiders were in second last. So it wasn't a spectacular result for them at all, but at least they took the 2 points. But then since then, they got manhandled by the Knights. I know it's an 8-point loss here, 24-16, but they got manhandled by the Knights. The pressure was too much. They got manhandled by the Rabbitohs, 32-24. And the 24 points, they actually were underneath 20 until the last minute of the game, where they scored a consolation try. In my opinion, they lost that game 13+, but obviously technically no, they didn't. But then after that first 5 rounds, they then beat the Panthers, weirdly enough. 32-16. You're just like, okay, the Dogs might be back here. Maybe the Dogs are actually going to start to get back into the form that we expected of them. They win 13+ against the Panthers, who have not lost a game this season outside of that one. And then they get trounced by Parramatta, 38-20. What? How do you go from beating the Panthers by 13+, 32-16, to losing to Parramatta 38-20 by 13+ at CommBank Stadium? The week prior to that result, the Titans put 50 past them. The Gold Coast Titans, who have struggled on their attack, and without that 50-point slap-up, would be the worst attack in the competition right now, scored 30 more points than you did against literally third last. The Eels have given up essentially 50 points 3 times this year. Panthers, 48, Storm, and also the Titans. How you lose that game is beyond me. And then you get pumped by an injured Broncos team, 32-12. And then last week against the Cowboys, you lost 28-12, and it was there for you to win, but you just couldn't win. So this Bulldogs team needs to win here today. It is a must-win. You can't come into this game and just hope for the best. We're getting to the point of the year now where if you lose this game, you are maybe not likely, but there's a good chance you could go into the bottom 4. Maybe it's not a good chance, it's a chance, but you should be on the precipice at the very minimum. It'd be very dangerous signs for a Bulldogs team that has been in the finals the last couple of years. Yes, they haven't won a game in the finals over the last couple of years, but the point is that they're meant to be progressing, and yet they've regressed such significant value. So that's why I feel like the Bulldogs are going to turn up here today, and they're going to give it a red-hot crack from the outset. I just don't know if they can win, though. Against, if this Dolphins team, I'll give you two. I'm going to sit on the fence a little bit here because I'm allowed to do that. I can do whatever I want. I'm going to sit on the fence a little bit here. And I'm going to say if the Dolphins play their style where they're not high, just heavy-hitting attack from the outset, and they earn their right to attack, they can win this game and probably will win this game 13 plus if they earn their right to attack. But then again, the negative to that is that the Bulldogs, if they do feel like this game is going into a grind, they can really smash in that grind and then they can pull away with it. However, the Cowboys game kind of went with that last week and they obviously lost quite considerably. So the Dolphins realistically should win this game 13 plus based off of form because this is a major drop-off to the teams that they've been playing recently, the Dolphins, except for the Storm, but they won that game. Talk about Panthers and Warriors games. On one side, if the Dolphins play the way that I was speaking about in regards to them having to earn their right to attack, they will win this game 13 plus. But if the Dogs come in here and they play to the standards that we expect of them, and they are desperate for a win, and Leo Thompson does have a big game, and Galvin does work out here with O'Sullivan, and we see Crichton get back to form, who has been, for mine, contextually the worst centre in the game this year. And I usually say Crichton's the best centre in the game. This year, on context alone, with what we expect out of Stephen Crichton, he has been the worst centre in the game this year, in my opinion. Tell me I'm wrong. Explain to me how I'm wrong, because he has been just so detrimental to this Canterbury Bulldogs team, and I'm a big fan of Stephen Crichton. So I do think there's a chance the Dogs win this game 1-12, and they find a way to grind it out. I just don't know if they can win if the Dolphins score 20, because this Dogs team just doesn't know how to score. They really do struggle. And although Burton being out could help them in a lot of ways in regards to changing up what this spine is going to produce, and Sean O'Sullivan does bring something completely different, I just don't know if the Dogs can win if the Dolphins score 20 plus. Because you don't want to go into a shootout against Redcliffe, is my opinion. So I am sitting on the fence a little bit. I think there is good value in the Dogs upset here of 1-12. I think that if the Dolphins win, they win 13 plus. So it's either Dogs 1-12 or Dolphins 13 plus. I'm going to slap in a desperate Dogs here, and I'm going to say 1-12. But I'm fully aware the Dolphins can win this game by a long way. So that's for a visual clip or whatever. I'll say I like an upset. Upsets galore in the NRL this season. I think the Dogs 1-12, but again, you understand what I'm saying. So let's move now into the ladder where the Dolphins and the Dogs are right next to each other in 11th and 12th. They are at the exact same point of the table, but the points differential separates them a bit. So we can basically give them a pretty similar ladder reading here. But the Dolphins are on 8 alongside the Bulldogs, the Raiders. The Dolphins have -11 on the points differential. The Dogs have -49, and the Raiders are -66. So if the Dolphins are to win this game with their -11, they would immediately jump above the Knights, who play the Dragons later on this week. So they'd go into 10th position. They would have to win by 12 points or more to go above the Broncos. It's definitely possible. And again, if the Dolphins win, I believe they win 13 plus. So they would go above the Broncos on that if they win by 12 or more. But you're not going above the Sharks unless you win this game by 48 points or more. So essentially 50 points, and that's on the margin, not on scoring. So you would need to score. You need to win by over 50 points to go above the Sharks. But they play the Rabbitohs on Saturday. You're not going above Manly. It's just not happening. So realistically, the highest that I can see you finishing this week, and I've got the Sharkies to win that Rabbitohs game quite confidently, but the highest that you could come in this week, if the Bulldogs are completely off, then sure, you could go definitely above the Broncos there. Can't see you beating them by 50 though. So I think 9th. But again, Broncos, Manly, Knights, Dragons, you are expecting one of those teams, if not both of those teams, to potentially get up in that one, especially the Knights. So you could win this game and still finish off in 11th, but at least you would be on that 10 points and you'd be pushing up towards that 8 still. But if you lose this game, you would immediately go below the Bulldogs into 12th position. And then the Raiders are on -66. So it depends on how much you lose by, but it's just not happening. You're not losing by 57 points, 56 points, or whatever it is to go below them. But they play the Panthers. I also wouldn't expect them to beat them, right? So you wouldn't be going below the Raiders. However, if you lost this game by 30 points, you would go to 21, 31, 41, minus 41. If the Titans won by 6 points against the Roosters, unlikely, but fresh team, hopefully, sneak a little upset, you would go below the Titans there into 13th position. The Eels are minus 121, so don't even worry about them. So the lowest that you could realistically go into this week is 14th, but you'd probably more so be situated in 12th because I don't have the Raiders or Titans to win. But the Titans never lose a game again. So that's the Dolphins. The Bulldogs on the other side, they're, like I said, they're on 8 points alongside the Raiders and the Dolphins, but they're on minus 49. So their points differential is 17 better than what the Raiders are, minus 66. And they are quite considerably behind the Dolphins. But if they win this game, who cares about that? They would go 10 points. They would have to win by 20 points or more to go above the Knights. Good luck with that one. I just don't know if the Dogs have the attack in them for that, but it'd be interesting if they did it. But they could technically go above the Knights. They're not winning by 52 points to go above the Brisbane Broncos there into 9th position. But again, if they lose, whatever. So realistically, the Bulldogs, the highest that they will be going this week is into 11th. Because if you lose by enough to the Dragons, you are going on scam, and we're never talking to you again. So the Bulldogs realistically 11th. But if they lose this game, well, that's where it starts to get a little bit dicey. Because the Raiders and Panthers, if the Raiders were to win that game, or they lose by 1 and you lose by like 20, they will still go above you. So you would go into 13th position if the Titans just win outright. They're on minus 46, the Bulldogs are minus 49. If the Titans just win, they will go above you. You will go into that bottom 4 into 14th position. But because if you got beaten by like 50 and the Eels got a 20-point win or something against the Cowboys, you could go into third last. Very unlikely. Very, very unlikely. But the point of the matter is that it is technically possible. So it's something that I do have to bring up here. But realistically, if you do lose this game, I would be keeping you in 12th. Because again, I don't have the Raiders or Titans to win those games. Even though the Titans never lose a game ever again. I have to give you a realistic response whilst also backing in my team. So that's why I say that. But yeah, realistically, either team loses today, 12th. But the highest that the Dolphins will go is more than likely into 9th, and the Bulldogs 11th. It's not too much changes, but definitely middle of the pack kind of stuff. But there you go, guys. That is the preview here for today's game. Let's get into the chat. Let's see what you are saying. Let's fire it all up here for another weekend of Rugby League, baby. Oh my gosh, we're pumping for the season. We've got Origin coming up. Oh, it's sexy, spicy. We're ready to rock and roll. Oh my gosh, we are so ready to rock and roll. It makes me sick. And Olivia Reed, she's rocking and rolling already with a dono. Fire up with the $8 donation. Get around your Olivia. This is another day, another dono. I'm feeling ADHD tonight, so I apologise in advance for the craziness. We're all over it. We're all over it, Olivia. Fire up. Appreciate you for your support of the channel. Get around it. Let's go back here to the start of this chat so I can skim through a couple of these early comments. Katrina says, we're the mighty Dolphins. Oh, yeah, this is actually, thank you for that. Olivia has just put a gift in the chat. I don't know what this means. Sent sunshine. So what does that mean, Olivia? I noticed that, like, I could include gifts on this channel, but I don't know what that actually is. It's like a new thing with YouTube. Sent sunshine for 200 joules. So what does that actually, mean? I had to buy joules. Does that mean you can put something in the chat or something? I honestly haven't and could send joules. Oh, so did something come up or something? I honestly have no idea. Again, this is a brand new thing, so I may have missed something if it came up in the chat. But anyway, thank you very much for whatever it may be, Olivia. Thank you very much for whatever it may be. Olivia says I also tip the Dolphins. I think, yeah, that it does make sense. Again, it does make sense. But I could see either a Bulldogs 1 12 or a Dolphins 13 plus here. Must be like the TikTok live bullshit. I sent a seal 2. You sent a seal 2. I sent clapping seal for 250 joules. Did something come up on this screen? Did something come up here, or did it happen in the chat? Or did it happen on YouTube? Like something came up on YouTube for you guys? I have absolutely no idea what's going on. So it says something, always a club and seal. Does it come up on the YouTube stream itself? Olivia says sent laughing disco for 250 joules. What's happening? I don't know. Am I boomer? I turned 32 on Monday. I must be boomer. I must be unk status. I must be officially just straight up an old man right now. I'll send Brenton a wooden spoon. Gee whiz. Well, he can get into you for this year, but There you go. Fire up. Appreciate you for whatever it is you might be sending, Olivia. But yeah, just let me know if it's something that's coming up on the screen for you guys. Other Gold Coast Titans says, did you see the new Titans lineup? That was the best thing I've seen since the Heritage jersey. What do you mean, did I see the new Titans lineup? I'm a Titans fan, brother. Of course I've seen the Titans lineup. Also, I stream every game. Of course I know what the team lineups are before the game does start and whatnot, especially for the Titans. Like, I don't necessarily look through other teams, and I'll do my read-through during here. But yeah, like, of course I know what the lineup is. Yeah, I'm excited. As you would have known if you were on the Titans stream last week against the Raiders, as you would have known, I blew up. I said that it's time Zane Harrison needs to come in. It's getting bullshit, and I'm so glad that he comes in. And the thing is, Jay Dawes is a genuine Titans fan, and this is who I was going back and forth with. It wasn't like... And Jaddles, if you're watching right now, I hope you didn't take that in a way like I was having a crack at you. It was more so as a point to say that it is time, because otherwise it'll never be time. Because I felt like at the time maybe he may have taken it the wrong way, when it wasn't meant to be like an insult towards his opinion. It was more so that opinion aligns with the club, and I disagree with it at the time. That the club was just never going down that path because of their scare about what could happen kind of deal, or what won't happen, or what player he could be kind of deal. And I just really, really thought it was time, and I'm so grateful, and I'm so glad. It was the perfect timing to bring that conversation up, because that's exactly what they've done this week. Exactly what they've done this week. You're supposed to... acting like we haven't been calling you Unk since you turned 30. Clown, mate. Your name is literally Clown, mate. I don't want to hear anything from you, Mr. We've got a worse points differential than the Titans right now. I don't want to hear nothing. Seb Watson, have a look at him. He's joined up as a member. Seb Watson has joined up as a member. This man, this pommy man from over there in England, says that he's not been able to purchase a membership, and now he's joined up. Have a look, I finally made it. Seb, look, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. But that's the dumbest idea you ever danced me, monkey. That's what they do on TikTok, man. But again, I don't know if things come up on the screen or something. And no one's really answered my question there. But thank you very much, Seb. It only took 3 years. It only took you 3 years there, Seb Watson. But I appreciate you for your support, man. By the way, actually, for the members, Olivia Reed is just... Oh, okay, so it's in the chat. It comes up with 6-7. I'm not doing that. 6-7, Jill. So it comes up with like a little emoji thing in the chat. That's cool. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Give us a 6-7. Shut up, Sam. Don't you start me. Thank you very much, Olivia. What was I saying? I was saying something. Anyway, I forgot what I was saying, because we've been looking at these little gift things that have been coming up. Edson says, hi, dude. How's it going? Love the breakdown, bro. No, I appreciate that, man. Oh, that's what I was saying. Sorry, Edson. What I was saying was, if you are a member, there is going to be my try scorer predictions and whatnot. I'm going to be putting out a video per day, essentially, for my try scorers from Tuesday. So from Tuesday, you'll get the Thursday night predictions. Wednesday, you'll get both the 2 videos for the Friday night predictions. Thursday, you'll get the 3 try score predictions for the Saturday games. And then on, I think Friday, whatever, it's the 2 games for Sunday. So get used to that for members. That's going to be coming out, because sometimes I can't do the try scorer stuff, and people ask me, because we go from game to game. Like, for example, tomorrow we go immediately from Titans Roosters into Cowboys versus the Eels. There's no time we go through the team lineups, but I can't give you the try scorers and all that type of stuff. So I thought, if you are a member, it's only $5 to be a member. If you are a member, then you'll be seeing that as of tomorrow. You'll be seeing all that. But that's going to be, a pretty much essentially daily thing. Concept says, I see the Titans have sacked Lachlan Lees this week. Hane is going to have to... Goat number 1. Okay, now I know it. Now in the chat, I can see those little emoji things. Appreciate that. Cool. Thank you very much. Concept says, I see the Titans have sacked Lachlan Lees this week. Hane is going to have to duck and weave Braith on NRL 360. Well, it's the right decision. It's the right decision, isn't it? So I don't even think... I actually think that Braith is quite aware of the situation, because I saw a comment the other day where Braith on Instagram was, and he publicly comments all the time, but he was quite understanding of Lachlan Lees not being up to scratch. So whilst he'll defend his player and the guy that is a part of his management group, I think he's very understanding and aware that this was a necessary thing. So it'd be frustrating for him that his player isn't performing to the abilities that he would like. And there's nothing wrong with Lachlan Lees as a person, but when it comes to... And I'm really glad that one of the Titans boys actually messaged me this week, and really, because they saw the video, and really wanted to say that they understand that I'm not having a crack at the person, because this is the hardest thing about being a content creator and about speaking publicly like this, is that when you are criticizing a player, it is not about criticizing who they are as a person. It has nothing to do with who they are as a person. It is about what we are witnessing on the field. And again, I'm not going to name the player, but it was about acknowledging that the boys are very aware that it's not an insult towards them, and that it's ultimately like a motivation to them in a lot of ways to get better, because this is how the fans are feeling. And I replied and said, this isn't necessarily, I think in regards to Ilias it is, but this isn't, when I say something, it's not necessarily how everybody's thinking. It's just how I'm thinking. And that doesn't mean, that could mean that a lot of people think like me, or it might not as well. It might be just an individual kind of thing. But it's just good that people can understand that, happy Mother's Day, what we're doing, Olivia. She's right in regards to the ADHD. She's right. But anyway, long story short that I'm saying here, it's good to see that players don't just take everything as offensively as they once did. And they want a lot of players can get really arky if you criticise their performance, because they're like, oh, well, you didn't play, so what do you know? It's like, well, we know because I've watched 32 years of the game. Doesn't mean I'm always right, but it's what I'm seeing, what I'm observing. So maybe have a look at maybe what I'm seeing to understand why I'm critiquing in that way. And so yeah, that's what that's my thoughts anyway. So it was really good to see that this week, because you do feel bad about that sometimes. Jake says Panthers were doing their charity work. Cloudmate says, here I am thinking after round one, shit, the Dragons might have somewhat a decent team this year. No, we the ha-ha team is just asked the signs were there round one. Hey, Cloudmate, what did I say after round one? What was I saying after round one? Was it like, because I wasn't buying into the Dragons are a good team nonsense. I wasn't buying into that at all. I know that you were watching, and I know that you follow me on Instagram too on BKRsport. I know that you are very aware of what I was saying. I wasn't buying into the Dragons were a good team and the Bulldogs just got pushed close. I was buying into the fact the Bulldogs' attack was absolutely dreadful. The Dragons, unlucky but controversial loss. DP Beard Show says, hey bro, cheers to the message to the Vietnam Rugby League count. Keen to see the game grow across there. Looking forward to watching the game with your stream. Fins up in this one. Get around here, man. That was awesome to see that. I'm obviously based in Ho Chi Minh right now, and my partner's Vietnamese, and I essentially live here. Like, I travel around Asia and whatnot, even though I'm from the Gold Coast. I've been doing this for the last year and a half, and it was so good to see the game is growing, like, with a Vietnamese Rugby League account, which I never would have expected, because people here have no idea about Rugby League whatsoever, man. Obviously, they're more like football and whatnot. But no, good stuff, man. Appreciate you, and good luck with everything with the Vietnamese Rugby League count. Ben says, what do you think of Cobbo's season this far? Well, you know my answer to this. You're just encouraging me to shit on the guy. I haven't seen a lot of Finn's matches, but do you think he's stood up for the most part? No, bro. He's had a really poor year, unfortunately. Junior says, hey, all blue tonight. Don't start, Junior. Don't do that. Just because we've got the Origin merch down there, do not even try to insinuate me with New South Wales. Don't do it. This is a Adidas shirt, and this is a Chicago Cubs hat. Don't start. And if you start, I'm changing my clothes. I'll do it. We've got 10 minutes to go until the game kicks off here, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Titans tomorrow. Okay, so if this is not necessarily the Titans colour, but I'll take blue for the Titans or blue for Man City. We're not doing a New South Wales bullshit. We're not doing that, man. Cloudmate says, Leo Thompson needs to bring up the old Dick Twist, the biggest and most alpha dolphin out there to really assert dominance. This is prime Dazmate right there. That is prime Dazmate. And he says, Cosrip, let's see if the Titans got the same treatment that we did. The Dragons are winning Saturday, or so my Delulu tells me. I don't think it's out of this world. The Dragons can beat the Knights on Saturday. I'm not going to tip you. No way. I refuse to tip you. If you win, great. I'll be so excited for you, and I'll be happy with you. But I'm not tipping you. There is no way that I'm tipping the Dragons until they win. I'm happy to get the tip wrong whenever they win. Happy to get it wrong whenever they win. But I think that there's a little bit of a different scenario with the Titans and the Dragons, because the Dragons were coaching organisationally and player-wise, whilst the Titans, we already have the new coach from pre-season, and we're just changing certain aspects. We could absolutely get flogged too. The Roosters, when they have the ball, are a spectacular team to watch. I believe they can win the comp, and it's probably going to be Roosters Panthers, in my opinion, right this very second for the grand final. If they lose to the Titans, they'll tell me a different story. But the Roosters build into a year, so I'm fully expecting to get absolutely bent over tomorrow night. I really am. But I would love to see the Titans put in an effort, and with Zane Harrison, I don't want them to remove him from the halfback position for at least 3 years, at minimum. They have to just push through with him, because he does have the talent. He is quality. You need to push through with him for 3 years. Any fans who come out against that, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to tell you. The only reason that Zane would ever get pushed out is if Nathan Cleary signed for us and I'd still have Zane Harris in the team somewhere. And that's just not happening. So Zane needs to be the guy for the future. He just simply does. Katrina says, there's only going to be one winner. You dream it could be you. Are you talking about the premiership? Well, sure, yeah. Sure. I definitely dream it could be the Titans because, I won't survive that night, though. Seb Watson says, what happens this week when you lose, Daz, mate? He has to. That's actually right. We're going to think of this right now, Daz. We get to decide it. We get to decide it right now. You know what? Your name is going to be Fins Up, mate. Daz, if you lose this game here tonight to the Dolphins, your name is Fins Up, mate, for the next week. Deal? Good. That's a deal. Don't need to see your answer for it. If the Dogs lose this game here tonight to the Dolphins, Daz, you need to change your name from Clown Mate to Fins Up, mate. Fact. I just don't want Dolphins to win, Sam says. Fair enough. Junior says Leroy Jenkins. I also took the Dolphins. Olivia says Servant says in terms of Titans Roosters, I like Zane Harrison in. I don't like Cody Ramsey in, so might be a little advantage there. Driving up 1.5 hours to Gosford, can't wait. Might be one of the most random comments you've ever put here because you've just compared a halfback to a winger, and then given like a little chance to the Titans based off of that. I love Zane. You guys know I've been calling for Zane for years, bro. I know what he can do. He's a young player coming through the system, and I genuinely believe that Mitchell Woods is a fantastic halfback. Don't get me wrong, coming through the system of the Dogs, but I genuinely believe that if Zane Harrison was a New South Wales Cup player and was a reserve grader in New South Wales, where the reps will always use New South Wales Cup as a higher platform than Queensland Cup, I believe that Zane personally is better than Mitchell Woods. Mitchell Woods, for mine, got the start in that New South Wales under-19s based off the fact that he is New South Wales in regards to plays for New South Wales team. And I think that they regard that form better than the Queensland Cup and Queensland form in general in the lesser grades, if you understand what I'm saying. So I genuinely believe Zane Harrison is the best upcoming halfback in the competition. It might take a little bit to see that, but he has everything that you need. And we need a game-managing halfback, and that's exactly what he is. Looks like what they did on TikTok live streams or battles somewhere. Yeah, it comes up in the chat. I see what it is now. So when it comes up, it comes up with that little emoji GIF thing so that spices up the chat a little bit. That's pretty cool to see. I'll send Brett a wooden spoon. Clammates is acting like we haven't been calling. Let's skip these comments and we'll get down to a bit more of the live chat. This is bullshit. I closed the app and it's still on my screen. What is happening? What do you mean, Edson? What's still on your screen? What's still on your screen? Edson says, you're good, not your fault. Sam says, can you see them? Someone says, where are you getting all these from? Is it not an app thing? All I know is that I don't know. This is a brand new thing that happened on YouTube like now, this week. Yeah, some show up on my screen, some don't. Shows all across the chat. I think like the smaller ones don't, and I think the bigger ones are, is what I've picked up here. And there we go with Luke saying, why are you dressed as a New South Wales supporter? I'm turning this around. It's a Chicago Cubs hat, for gosh sake. For gosh sake, lads. It's a Chicago Cubs hat. Because the Cubbies are the greatest baseball team that ever did damn well exist. And if you don't like that, I don't like you. The Chicago Cubs might just simply be the greatest team that ever did exist. So you can screw off with your New South Wales relevance. Because there is no New South Wales here. If I have to put on another shirt, I will put on another shirt. Because it's making me sick, you guys calling me New South Wales. Justin Barton says, Bullet Brother, who are the most influential and impactful coaches in the NRL? Name 3. Craig Bellamy, Wayne Bennett, Ivan Cleary. What, is there somebody else that you would like me to say? Because I think that's pretty self-explanatory, really. I think that'd be pretty self-explanatory. Who else would you say? Trent Robbo maybe in the 2010s, but not anymore. You definitely... Yeah, Craig Bellamy. If you're talking about like this decade, it's Craig Bellamy, Ivan Cleary, and maybe not Wayne Bennett, but like overall, if you're talking about historically wise with coaches that are still in the game, then it's definitely Ivan Cleary, Craig Bellamy, and Wayne Bennett. But from a different perspective, like right this very second, Andrew Webster on form is doing some fantastic stuff. He's impacting the game quite dramatically. He's from that Panther system. You'd have to still go with Ivan Cleary. And Bulldogs fans, don't even think about putting the person that you want to put there. Don't even think about it. And Michael Maguire right now, actually. Michael Maguire's a great shout because Michael Maguire is so underrated in my opinion. So they're coming out to the field now, guys. The Dogs are in the field. The Dolphins are coming out to their little trumpet care thing. I would say Michael Maguire this decade Maybe not even this decade, actually, because then you've got to include the Tigers. The Tigers have hurt his reputation so much because he won a premiership with the Rabbitohs, Michael Maguire, and then the Tigers were just an unhelpable franchise at the time and unsavable in a lot of ways. And then he went to New Zealand. He left the Tigers, went to New Zealand, and won the Pacific Cup over Australia 30-0. And then he went to New South Wales and dominated that series and won the series, and then immediately went to the Broncos and won a premiership with them. So I think Michael Maguire is super underrated and should definitely get his recommendations, but you can't put him alongside those three guys. So it just comes down to the perspective of the question. Clan Mate says, I'm a Patriot fan, so I'm already used to owning a Dolphins team anyway, Drake May. So Clan Mate, have we got a deal? So you're changing your name to Fins Up, mate, if you lose this game? Fins Up, mate. Someone says, in terms of Titans, I've already read that comment. Sam says he's your number one content creator. He's supporting the Dogs tonight. Change of shirt. As a Queenslander, it's not socially acceptable to be wearing anything blue for the next couple of months. It's basically law in Queensland. You know what? From tomorrow, you won't be seeing me wear any blue. Well, I have to wear blue for the Titans, mate. I do. I have to wear blue for the Titans. So I will be wearing blue tomorrow, but it'll be more so for Titans. But outside of the Titans games, from now on, I will not be wearing any blue. How about that one? You bloody pressuring. Gee whiz, leave me alone. Just want to watch some Rugby League. We've kicked off here, guys. So the Dolphins will receive this ball, the in goal, and they get off to Francis Molo, who brings out the 13 on first tackle. Obviously, guys, hit that like button, subscribe. If you are new around here, let me just refresh this old live chat. Refresh the old live score is what I should say. And are we moving and grooving? We are so moving and grooving. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my goodness me. Third tackle leave of the Dolphins, and it's going to be Thomas Flegler. Brings it out to the 25. Sean says, did you have a good birthday, mate? I had a great birthday, man. I was a little bit sick this week, to be fair, but no, I was sweet. Got a heap of messages from you guys, and yeah, no, it was a massive birthday, man. So really happy with that. Just too bad that the old City disappointed me. Fit tackle now, the 30 on fit tackle. Jeff says, I'm hoping Farnworth goes big tonight. A VC on time, trifecta. I just don't know what Bulldogs team turns up here, man. Connor Tracy brings this ball out to the 30 to the 35. That's a good run from Connor Tracy to the 40 on first tackle. Now, let's see this intent from the first set here. Let's see the physicality the Dogs bring in regards to making their runs, and let's see how many metres they're going to be making. Again, looking for Leo Thompson to have an absolute gangbuster game. And I said that he's a real sneaky. I didn't even give you my try scorers tonight, but a real sneaky anytime try scorer is Leo Thompson. But again, if you want my try scorers on a regular basis where you've got plenty of time to look at them and make your decisions and come away, you have to be a member, $5 for the month, and you'll get that every single day. It doesn't take away anything from these streams and whatnot. It's just extra content for people who do support the channel. So it's going to be Leo Thompson, great offload there, and the Bulldogs are going to get this ball to 40. Lachlan Galvin, Bronson Terry. Bronson Terry's away here. Bronson Terry at the 30, the 25, and he's lost the ball. Good set from the Dogs until it was a knock on. Good set from the Dogs until it was a knock on. Cloudmate says it only took us 10 rounds, and they're going to challenge us here, the Dogs. Wow, 1:50 and we're seeing a challenge from the Dogs. Live decision of offload. The Dolphins are claiming, so the Dogs are claiming a strip here. On live viewing, I didn't think so. Oh, yes he does. Yes, he does. This is a penalty. This is a correct call. Well done, Dogs. Yeah, it didn't look live, and the commentary was saying this too. It didn't look live like he stripped this ball out, but he comes down with his hand on the ball directly and forces it out. It's a penalty, 100%. 100%. Cloudmate says, could be the bias hate towards Arsenal, but I still, for some reason, think City will win this. It's interesting, man, because we've been here before. That's why I'm not too upset just yet. It's going to be an interesting run home because West Ham are not going to be easy this week. If they lose, they're essentially done. They're essentially gone. So there's plenty of twists to come, man. We've been here before many a times. Ask United, ask Liverpool, ask Arsenal. 6 again. 10 metres out here from the line for the Bulldogs. Samuel Hughes will roll this ball back to Bailey Hayward. Goes out to the right-hand side of Connor Tracy. Connor Tracy steps. Tracy's looking like he might be up for a big game here today. Second tackle here at the 7. What a big chance the Dogs early, but we know they can't attack. Sean Sullivan to Lachlan Galvin. Galvin nearly gets away from one. Gets offload away to Jacob Preston. Preston now is going to bring this ball to the 10 on third tackle. Dogs, you need to show us some attack. You've got no Matty Burton here today, but let's see a difference in the halves here with Sean O'Sullivan and Lachlan Galvin. Was there a knock on there? Yes, there was. Bailey Hayward, for mine, still is not a 9. Shouldn't even be a 9. I'm sorry, Bailey Hayward shouldn't be in the team. What's Bailey Hayward done to prove that he is a 9? What did Bailey Hayward ever do to show that he should have been a 9 over Reed Marnie? And I don't think that Reed Marnie is spectacular. To be fair, they probably should have challenged this too. But Bailey Hayward still disappoints me this year. And I said this before the year started, but that should have been a penalty to the Dogs as well. The Dogs say woof woof with that challenge. I have Dolphins 13 plus 32 to 18. As it says, I think form-wise you would expect that with the way the Dogs have been playing, but I did sit on the fence a little bit in my preview. But I'm leaning. I did lead Doggies 1 at 12. I did lean it, technically. Second tackle to get the 25, but the Dolphins, if they win this game, they should win 13 plus. It's a penalty, fins up, mate. It is. Andrew says, Dolphins by minus 27 and the Hammer to score 2 plus tries. Oh, that's a big ballsy call, man, on a competition that is very unpredictable. Big offload there from the Dolphins, and Max Plath gets this ball to the 50 on 4 tackle. As a big ballsy prediction, minus 27 in a game where, like, if the Dogs come in like that Panthers game, gee whiz, if Crichton can get to some form, I don't know if that's a chance. Like, sure, the Dolphins have enough points in them for that to be possible, but I don't know. I think that's too much of mine, but we'll see. And Cobbo catches it, offloads the ball to the back. He gives it off to Nicarima. Nicarima kicks it through. That's not played out there for the Dogs, and luckily for the Dogs, it's going to come up here for Jonathan Sewer, who brings this ball all the way back out here to the 30 on first tackle. A little bit of a scare for the Dogs, but yeah, that is it's a huge prediction of minus 27, man. I feel like that's a bit too confident for mine. Bronson Serra here to the 40. They need to earn their right to attack the Dolphins. They need to earn their right to attack through their defense, which is what they've been doing in their big wins this season. They did it against the Melbourne Storm, and they did it against the Cronulla Sharks. They need to earn their right to attack. Leo Thompson with a big run brings this ball to the 43 on 4 tackle. That was Preston, not Hayward. No, it was Hayward who knocked the ball on. That's what the call was anyway. Not that I agree with the call. Johnny says, is the game Redcliffe or Suncorp? It's at Suncorp. So they'll kick that ball up here. The Doggies to the 15, to the 10. Hamiso, that's going to be knocked on, I think, from Manari Tuala. They're going to play this out here. I think this is a knock-on from the Dogs. So Samuel Hughes has got this ball. It's going to be a try to the Dogs, but they're going to go to the bunker. I think it's a knock-on here from Manari Tuala. They're going to review the knock-on here from Manari Tuala. This will be a no try for sure. Unless, like, Hamiso may knock it on first, which may give the ball back to the Dogs, but either way, I don't feel like this could be a try whatsoever. They're all onside, and they're all going up for the ball here. Well, that angle's not showing a shit. Oh, maybe this is a knock-on from Hamiso. Ooh. Well, you could say Hamiso maybe knocks this ball back into Tuala. I think Hamiso touches this first, but it might be going backwards. But then again, a lot of the time they do say the Bulldogs player technically is in front of him kind of deal. No, this is a knock-on. You can't not call this a knock-on. Yeah, it's a knock-on from Manari Tuala. So it'll be Dolphins ball here at the 10. And says, I like Leo Thompson. He's good, but a bit inconsistent. Why? What are you saying? Like, inconsistent in what way? Because obviously we've only seen him play 2 weeks now for the Bulldogs. Are you referring to his night stays? Well, both obviously touch the ball, Bunker, you idiot. Yeah, both touch the ball, but I do feel like the right call's been made here. Out of everyone on the field, had Sam Hughes end up with it? Well, because the ball comes out the back and Hughes is coming up to make the tackle. He's had 8 weeks off. Yeah, he's had 8 weeks off. Obviously, he was at the Newcastle Knights, where it's very difficult to judge a player based off of the recent years of the Newcastle Knights, and especially last year where they came last. So I'm willing to leave my judgment for Leo in this Bulldogs team, which should be a lot better, but he's come in and unfortunately he's come into an absolute disastrous situation at Canterbury. And knock on from the Dogs. Knock on from the Dolphins, sorry. Thomas Flegler will lose the ball at the 40. He is fuming, and the Dogs will go into the attack here. He is spewing. Yeah, but so you're saying the Knights, Edson, but that is, for mine, that's quite harsh. It's quite harsh to judge him on the Knights because who was good for the Knights last year? And I feel like him coming into this situation, you have to give him a couple of weeks. He had a great game last week, except for the knock-ons. The knock-ons killed him last week, but run meters, he went for over 160. He had a buckload of offloads. He had 41 tackles for 1 miss kind of deal. Like, he had a spectacular game last week. It was just the errors that killed him, unfortunately. Bronson Serra, he's going to break out of the left-hand side here. He'll be at the 35 on first tackle. Leo went from one disaster to another. Agree, Brenton. He'd be spewing in regards to the Knights' form this year. He'd be absolutely spewing. Was that a decision from Adam O'Brien or Holbrook? I think it was Adam O'Brien who decided to let Leo Thompson go. No, I don't know if we would have seen Leo Thompson go if Holbrook made the decision. If Holbrook was was in charge, because similar in a lot of ways to like a big Moe Fodawaker who was there, and Holbrook really did nurture at the Titans. They go to the right-hand side to Sean O'Sullivan, then off to Leo Thompson, and Thompson gets the ball in the line, and he'll just get this ball to the 13, now on fit tackle. 7 minutes gone here. Bailey Hayward to Lachlan Galvin. Galvin kicks his ball through, played at, Dolphins knock on. Dogs ball at 10. Massive. That's actually pretty good there from Lachlan Galvin. From the eye test, you're going to look at that and say he's just kicked that ball straight into the line and it's just bounced around. But I think that's pretty good there from Galvin. He was trying to get it through for Sintili Tupanua, who was making that run. It doesn't go through, but at the end of the day, it's played out there by Kaneli Lemuelu. And then as he's trying to bring that ball in, he knocks the ball on, and the Dogs get another attack and set. Sam says, honestly, Dogs have gone downhill since they let Jamal Idris go. You're an idiot. You are an idiot. I don't even know why I respond to you sometimes. I really don't even know. So they go out to Sean O'Sullivan. He's at the 15. Then off to Lachlan Galvin. Galvin now. Connor Tracy is going to be 9 minutes away from the line. First tackle. Oh, it was Adam O'Brien, pretty sure. Yeah, fair enough. So Bailey Hayward to Lachlan Galvin. The Dogs do this all the time, though. Leo Thompson with a good offload there. Sean O'Sullivan. Then off to Stephen Crichton. Need a big game from Crichton here today. He's been one of their worst players this year. Second tackle here at the 13. Bailey Hayward to Lachlan Galvin. Jacob Preston. Short ball through the line. Not Jacob Preston. James Salmon. Try time for the Doggies. Bang. 4-0 with a kick to come. Right in front of the post. That'll be 6-0. James Salmon. You just expect that it's Jacob Preston on the short ball, but it was James Salmon on the short ball. So that got me off in regards to my commentary, because you just always expect that Jacob Preston's the one doing that short run off, because he always passes that ball. But this time, he gives it to Jamin Salmon, and he's going to push through over the line and score right of the post. That'll be a 6-0 ball game. The week got a Dogs, and the week got a dog. The Dogs need a new attacking coach, to be honest, Willem says. Well, guess what? We're speaking about Adam O'Brien, and he is their attacking coach. He is their new attacking coach too, mind you. He is their new attacking coach. But the Dogs had to score. They've had so much attacking pressure here in this game. But they do get over the line. So it's about to be 6-0. Phone was in the shop for 3 days. Didn't even know it was Thursday. Got my tips on 5 minutes before the start. Yeah, I don't think I've put my tips in at all. But I would have gone. I did say Dogs won 12 at the end of the day. Not that I was confident. So either way, I got the away team here on the actual official tips. But it's good for one of you guys to win that tipping competition anyway. Flames on Game says, how was your birthday? Do anything fun? Had a great time, man, here in Ho Chi Minh. Saigon. Great time. James says, I'm the over 52.5. I just want scores. Big call. 10 minutes gone here in the first half, guys. 30 minutes to go of the first half. Hit that like button and subscribe if you are new around here. We're going to be live for every game this week, and Titans Roosters tomorrow and Cowboys Eels tomorrow. But in regards to over 50.5, it's a bold call. It could definitely it's definitely possible, but you would have to expect the Dolphins score a majority of those points. You can't be expecting the Dogs to be pushing up towards the 30 and the Dolphins are getting 20 kind of deal. Like, the Dogs don't usually typically score over 20 points unless there's a consolation try in the last few moments to take them to 20. So it's a bold one with the Dogs. And if the Dogs come in and play like they did against the Panthers, well, you know, we could be for an under here. If you're very, very confident the Dolphins win, then yes, the 50.5 should be hit. As it says, anyone know what Keenan Palacia is doing these days? He used to be so good. He's over in... Is he at Leeds? He's in the Super League, but he's definitely over there in England. I just don't know which club. Maybe Leeds or... That's a penalty to the Dogs. That's huge. Dolphins not onto it in the early part of this game. Not onto it in the early part. I feel honoured to have my birthday in the same month as yours, BKR. Are you early in the month or late in the month? James says, yeah, I was hoping the Dogs to score the first two early and the Dolphins can just go nuts. Well, the Dolphins are a bit more of a second half team than a first half team. Look at the game against the Panthers where they were down 18-0 and then they came back to 20-18. Yes, they lost, but they came back to 20-18 in the second half. And then look at the game against the Storm. They were down 10-0 and came back to win that game and romped them in the second half. So the Dolphins are more of a second half team. However, if the Dogs get a sniff at this game, I'm telling you, they are desperate. They need to win this game. If they get a sniff at this game, they will force this into a grind, and I could see the Doggies. And that's why I've gone Doggies 1-12 as a little bit of a sneaky. 6 again, here for the Dogs. Jacob pressing right through. Jacob pressing right through. Jacob pressing right through. He's at the 20, the 15. Can't get the offload away. First tackle here for the Dogs. 15 out. That's a sin bin. That's a sin bin against Amiso for mine. That's a professional foul. But anyway, they're not going to call it. If Preston falls down there, he didn't fall over. If Preston goes down because of the second grab there from Miso, it's a bin. Because he didn't go down, it's not a bin. Preston has to take one for the team there and go down under that. But also good on him for not, falsifying it just to get the penalty. But he does disadvantage his team by not forcing the bin there. Third tackle here at the 5, Bailey Hayward. Off to Galvin at the 10. Then off to O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan to Siteli Tupanua. And Siteli Tupanua is going to be 4 metres out from the line. What a run there that was from Jacob Preston, by the way. That was so strong, right through the line. They give it to Lachlan Galvin. Galvin off to O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan here to Bronson Seri. Seri out the back. Who's going to get the ball? Penalty to the Dogs. Penalty to the Dogs. 10 metres away from the line. Offside. Neither May. Sierra Taurus as well. There you go. Oh, he is at least doing well, Seb. Good stuff. He's a character, the old Keenan Palaceo. He is a character. So the Doggies just putting on the attack and pressure right now. The Dolphins, they're under a lot of pressure as we speak. So Bailey Hayward to Sean O'Sullivan to Leo Thompson. And Leo Thompson is going to be 9 metres away here, 5 metres away here from the line, first tackle. Oh, there's a knock-on from Sam Hughes. That's absolutely pathetic. The Dolphins get this ball at 10. That's pathetic. It's not even worth my time talking about. Willem says, why don't you play league? Don't say you're too old. You're younger than most of the Dragons squad. Well, I am too old, 32 years old. But also, I am traveling the world, man. So, and also, I don't have a great ankle. My left ankle, I broke it a few years back, and it just never really fully kind of got back together. So not my kind of deal. If I wanted to be in the charity match every year, I could be with the Sports Shed, but I just don't. That's why I did the commentary early doors. Sana says, this is the good old Bulldogs attack we've come to know and come to know and love. Yep, that is the Dogs for you. That was pathetic. That was actually pathetic in regards to Samuel Hughes dropping that ball just then. So the Dolphins will beat the 13 on first tackle. The most basic of... Oh, yeah, there's a penalty here to the Dolphins too. Oh, my gosh. That's just a way to kill all momentum in the game. Like, that is the perfect way to do it. You get some up at dropping the ball on, like, second tackle 8 metres away, and then you give away a penalty on second tackle on the follow-up set. It's just prime time rugby league. Prime time. Mitchell says the Dragons won't lose anything by signing Hainsey. Get another big bopper in the team. Get another big bopper in. So the Dolphins, Jack Bostock gives it off to Canelli Lemwelu, and Lemwelu will bring it to the 50. This will be their first attack of the game. Let's see if the Dogs' defense can get back to any kind of way. Wait, who qualifies? Are they saying Isai Katoa qualifies for Queensland? Who are they talking about in the commentary right now? They're talking about how he came to Queensland when he was 11 years old and he qualifies for Queensland. Who are they talking about? Are they talking about Isai Katoa? Who are they talking about? If we beat the Roosters, you have to do an Insta post doing that little dance he does. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I will do the dance that he does if we do beat him. Happy Farmworth gets on the outside of Crichton, but he gets taken down to the 40 on fourth tackle. Good tackle from Minari Tuala to lock down Herbie there. Nick Arima, he'll go himself and close to a high tackle, but it'll be fifth tackle now to 25. Best field position in the match. They still haven't got inside the attacking 20 though. Isai Katoa puts that ball up into the air. It's going to be around the 10. Dolphins catch it. Bostock. Penalty to the Dogs. Penalty to the Doggy Wolf Wolves. Katoa legit played on the 19s for New South Wales. So who are they talking about then? Because they just said somebody is eligible for Queensland because he came to Queensland when he was 11. He came to Queensland when he was 11, and regardless of his international honours and whatnot. I don't think they're talking about Herbie, because Herbie, I don't believe, is eligible. Sam says Nicarima. What? So they're talking about Nicarima, and I heard the commentary saying, well, his form absolutely warrants it. Are you off your rocker? Nicarima for Origin? Come on. Queensland should definitely use him. He's the next Milford. I want to time you out. Oh, Leo Thompson smashing the tackle at the 45 on second tackle. I don't mind Nicarima as a player, but them talking about his form warrants him getting into Origin? Is that really who they were talking about? What? Commentary, what are you doing? Lachlan Galvin at the 45 to Connor Tracy, Stephen Crichton. Crichton doesn't pass it. But good post contact regardless. Fourth tackle at the 33. And it's Siteli Tupanua, and he'll be at the 24. There's a penalty to the Dogs. 16 minutes gone. Penalty to the Dogs here. Contact to the head. They're going to look at this in the bunker, but I think it'll be fine. It's Flegler. So whenever you look at Flegler, you're just like, he is a walking sin bin. He is a walking penalty. This will be interesting. James says, think the over is slightly getting cooked. Like I said, it's a tough one. There might be some mitigation here. Oh, it's direct shoulder contact to the head. This might be a bin. They're going to take the 2 here, the Dogs. I'm surprised that the bunker hasn't gotten involved there for potentially more, because at the end of the day, they do always say that there is just a bin there. Like, he has been tackled around the legs. He's kind of coming down with his head. The mitigation is fine, but I just know consistency-wise, they would typically call that as a bin. Typically. I'm okay with the Dogs taking the 2 points here. No way, Nicarima and Origin. I don't know what they're talking about in regards to the commentary. If that's who they were talking about, and Sam is right, unless they're talking about Nakora, and that's for the Sharks, but Nakora, his form hasn't been great at all for the last year. He grew up playing in the Penrith system. Ain't no way he can play for Queensland, but hey, Kempsey-born Greg Inglis could play for Queensland. Oh, that's nice, Glenn, mate. Hey, Peter Sterling, where's he from? Is Toowoomba near Mudgee, or is Toowoomba out like Newcastle way, like near Maitland area? Is that where Toowoomba is, or? Don't go down this birth situation, man. Don't do it. You've got players in your team that were born in Samoa, dude. Like, let's not do this. let's not do this, bro. Yeah. Let's not do this, man. Not do it. So the Doggies will get the 2. It's 8-0 here to the Dogs, 17 minutes into the game. Johnny says, if you played high school in a state, does that not make you eligible? Would Farnworth be not eligible for Queensland? No, he didn't come over here early enough. I think the cutoff is 12 years old or something like that? Can someone clarify for me in the chat? I think it's 12 years old as a cutoff, and I don't think he got here. Same thing with Molotalo. That's why he can't play for Queensland, even though he played under 19s for Queensland. So under 19s don't actually confirm you for anything at the moment, by the way. No, Farnworth isn't eligible. It's about where you play your first... is it rep game, or is it your first, whether it's for Queensland Cup or New South Wales Cup? No. Oh, man. I'm getting confused now because Dad's mate bloody confused me with this bullshit birth thing. So they're going to kick the ball out in the fall here. Dolphins will give away a penalty again. The Dolphins have been so ill-disciplined today, it's not funny. They're so ill-disciplined. The Dolphins are all over the shop. They have not even came to this game to play at the moment, the Dolphins. The Dogs are going to get a penalty at the halfway point. Yeah, this has been a pathetic start for the Finns. 13, thank you. Jess, this morning, get around you, Jess. Why take the 2 this early in the game? Because the Dogs don't have points in them. So they want to get as many points as they can. Now they're up 8-0. They've got a bit more freedom to play a bit more. Penalty count 6-1 to the Bulldogs, by the way. But it's all legitimate. It's all been fair call. That touch on the screen you've got right there, I literally went to school with him, by the way. Schwassy. But the Dolphins have been so well disciplined here today. But the Bulldogs have a lot more freedom to open up in the game whilst they're up 8-0 here. Separates you by over a try. You aren't known for having good points, so take the points on offer, and hopefully you can build some momentum with those points. Leo Thompson's going to bring this ball into the 15. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's necessarily the right option. I'm just saying from that perspective, that makes sense. Which is, I feel like, how the Dogs are thinking of it. Second tackle, they give it off to Connor Tracy. Connor Tracy sits up on Tupanua, and there's a knock on. So it's going to be a Dolphins ball at the 10. But also, the Dolphins have given away 6 penalties to the 1 for the Dogs. Yet the Dogs are only up 8-0. You'd just be like, Dogs, you should be capitalising on this. Brocky with a $3 donation. Get around here, Brocky. You're a legend, mate. Thanks for the support, my bro. Beautiful kick from Isako. It says, Ben says, Dolphins are having a great game doing everything wrong. Yep. Do you see my message about who they were actually talking about? Did you message me on Facebook, or are you talking about here? Oh, they were talking about Finifiwiaki. Well, why the hell did you bring up Nicarima so we had to waste our time talking about that, Sam, you muppet? Finifiwiaki's form actually does warrant it. Finifiwiaki this year has actually been great. You're an idiot. Why would you bring up Nicarima? You absolute muppet. What are you talking about? Third tackle now for the Dolphins, and Obi Farmer with a good run to the 35. 20 minutes gone in the first half, 20 minutes to go of the first half. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new around here, and the Dolphins will get a 6 again on the back of that one, and it's going to be Dolphins at the 42 now on first tackle. You're a muppet, Sam. Cloudmate says, yes, Samoa and New South Wales, just like there's American Samoa and Samoa. There's a New South Wales Samoa discovered in 2021. I think Dasmate's just discovered the word Samoa, and it's his favourite word to use. So that's going to be third tackle now for the Dolphins at the 42. They still have not been inside the attacking 20 whatsoever. Got to keep you on your toes. Well, no, the reason why I respond like that is because I trust you guys to give me the right answer. Bostock, right-hand side, Isaka's away, Isaka's away, Isaka's away, Isaka's away, Isaka's away, Isaka's away, Isaka scores. Bulldogs, I'm sorry, but you've got to get absolutely roasted to oblivion for this. You got to get roasted to oblivion for this. The Dolphins have not touched the ball in your attack in 20 this entire game. You have given away 1 penalty. They've given away 6 penalties. You have had the ball in the attack in 20 numerous times. You knocked the ball on numerous times. Like, it's just dreadful here. Congratulations on being up 8-0, but for you to give away this try, one, you give away the 6 again, but for you to give away this open, easy try on the right-hand touchline here, well done here for Jermaine Sarko off to the Dolphins next year. Bad tackle there from Connor Tracy. Hayward, no chance there. But, like, that it's just unfathomable. You have dominated this first 22 minutes of this game. The Dolphins have looked absolutely god-awful. They look absolutely horrific in this game. They get one attacking opportunity, and you give away a try from the 50-metre line immediately. You give away an immediate try on the 50-metre line. They have still not had a single tackle in your 20. And yet it's going to be either a 4-point game or a 2-point game right now. The criticism is absolutely deserved for this game so far because you have dominated the first 22 minutes, and yet you are only going to be leading by 4 or 2 with a massive penalty count in your favour, which has been legitimate and has been fair, but you should have been doing way better there. Jack says that defence was dreadful. They've had one chance and scored. Exactly. Absolutely. Sean says, so much for the best defence. Yeah, that's really poor stuff from Dogs. Really poor. Homie Nelson is potentially a 2-point ball game with possibly 70% possession for the Dogs. Exactly. And 6 penalties in their favour. Again, legitimate penalties. And there will be a lot of casual fans who come out and go, oh, well, the penalty count was askew, so we had to beat the ref. No, you're an idiot. It doesn't mean that at all. Jermaine Sarko will miss the kick, so we'll say 4-point game, 8 points to 4. No, penalty counts, just because the number is off, does not mean that it's illegitimate. It just means that either one team was ill-disciplined. It could mean it's illegitimate, but if you believe that it is bullshit, that's also on Bronson Terry for rushing in, but also, why was there only a centre and a winger there 2-on-3? I don't know what happened there with the Dogs' defence. It was so poor. But if you can argue what calls were wrong, great. But just because an off-penalty count doesn't mean jack. Sport Reaction says the marketing of the PNG team has been so much better than Perth. They need to build their fan base in Perth since Perth is AFL dominant. Yeah, forget about thinking about AFL though. Just think about the team itself. They haven't delivered or built anywhere near close enough to a team that should be really that great next year. They are the middle child. I'm telling you that Perth are the middle child. They're not going to get it anywhere near as much hype as Papua New Guinea. Michael Chalmers is doing a fantastic job right now about delivering a marketable team. The players are going to be older in their 30s and whatnot, and Jerome Luai and Alex Johnson, but they've got a platform there. They're also going to build a lot of their local talent that you've never heard of before. They'll also probably bring guys like Edwin Ipape. I don't know how old he is now, but Edwin Ipape, I'm sure, will come from the Super League to play the number 9 there for the Papua New Guinea Chiefs and whatnot. They're doing a really, really good job right now about building a team that Papua New Guinea can represent themselves. You can't really do that with Perth because there's no rugby league culture in Perth, so that goes to your point in regards to AFL. But it's nearly impossible to draw that cultural connection with Perth. Whilst with Papua New Guinea, it's very easy, especially with Alex Johnson signing. If they can bring in guys like Edwin Ipape, I know long term they want to bring in Cooper Bai, but he just signed with the Gold Coast Titans and whatnot. The Titans show him progression. I'm sure he'll want to stay, but also he might want to go back there. Third tackle at the 45 of the Dogs. So Papua New Guinea have a good leg up in regards to a lot of beneficials, and Perth are already arguing internally. Like organisationally, they're already arguing internally. You know why? Because there's too many cooks in the kitchen. There's too many chefs in the damn well kitchen. You got North Sydney thinking they know the experience and they know everything about rugby league because they've been and done it before. Yeah, well, you got kicked out of the competition. You haven't been in the competition for 25, 30 plus years. So let's not go around big noting ourselves as if we're like the real big dogs. You have experience, but you also have experience from the 90s and the 80s and beforehand and whatnot. Whilst Perth don't have the experience, but I feel like North Sydney are obviously trying to big dog them, and that's a recipe for disaster. Look at St George and look at Illawarra, look at Balmain and look at West. At least those two clubs, when they came in, were on established levels. West were awful, and Balmain were spectacular in regards to their premierships and whatnot, so it was uneven. But you're already seeing problems with those clubs when they were established franchises in the game at the time, whilst Perth have never been an established franchise in the game besides, the Perth Reds, which just obviously fell away due to the Super League and whatnot. Is Ben Ikin going to Perth, is he? Because I saw that Ben Ikin has quit the head of Queensland Rugby League, which is massive. So the Bulldogs now get this ball to the 50. That'd be absolutely huge if they did get a Benny Ikin. So they go out to the right inside to Anari Tuala, and Tuala's going to be at the 45 on third tackle. Who are the wingers for the Dogs? Jonathan Sewa and And Ari Tuala, I would imagine. 4th tackle now for the Dogs at the 35. Perth Bears team looks like Parramatta squad to me, excluding Moses. Oh, yikes. Jacob Preston, he'll bring this ball to the 25, gets an offload away to Jamin Salmon. Salmon taking down the 22 on 5th tackle. Bailey Hayward, Sean O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan, short ball to Panua. Great run, gets the offload away, flicks it over the top. That's a brilliant try for the Doggies. Well done. That is Rugby League. That right there is a fantastic try for the Canterbury Bulldogs against the grain. They've just gone straight. How have you gone and done that when you disappoint the first 25? You've just gone and put on an absolute classy try. That is a classy try for Canterbury, and they lead 12-4 here with the kick to come. Great ball there from O'Sullivan to a short ball to Tupanua, and then Connor Tracy, not even looking where he's passing it, running into the line, and he's passed it like this, and it's gone perfectly to Stephen Crichton, who is unmarked on the right-hand side. That is an unbelievable pass there from Connor Tracy, and the Bulldogs had the lead 12-4. Finally, some attack, Ben. Exactly right. Finally. Yeah, chancing their arm, home of the NRL. We don't see the Dogs typically chance their arm this year. They chance their arm with that one, and comes off big time, 12-4 to get to come. Beautiful stuff. Perth are starving out for attention. We've heard nothing but bitching for 27 years from that fan base. They finally... Perth are starving out for attention. We've heard nothing but bitching for 27 years from North Sydney Bears, essentially. They finally get their team back and still have something to complain about. Hashtag grow up. This is not... You can't really argue it, though. You can't really argue it. Home of the NRL's PNG junior systems could be something else. If the right development is put into it, but we're not going to see that for 5, 10, 15 plus years. Like right now, the pathway is just not anywhere close to good enough. No, the pathway, and this is what's going to be so important for Michael Chalmers to get right, and what this Papua New Guinea team needs to get right, and the NRL is going to try and benefit them the whole way through. But once they establish a pathway and a grassroots, that they will really start to improve as a nation. And 1 second, Crichton... Oh, hits the post. So close. Stays 12-4. 13 minutes to go the first half. That penalty means a lot now. That 2-point penalty. It's very important. But we're not going to see the benefits of that for 10, 15 years. A really big fan of Skipper Critter. We don't need to use the capitals the entire time, but get around your Tolly offer. Yeah, Critter's a good player, but he hasn't been good this year. So he really needs to have a big game here. At least he scored a try to benefit them today. He really needs a big game here, though. He needs to keep on going with the next 53 minutes because he's been really poor for the Dogs this year. Sadly, the over is alive. Not just yet, but there's still a long way to go in this game. Dolphins to win 13 plus, X Factor says. I went Dogs 1 at 12. I went Doggies 1 at 12 prior to the game. Second tackle here at the 25. Finally, our Matama Tonga coach as well. Oh, 6 again for the Dogs, and they're going to bring this ball to the 35. Who's your coach? Is Christian Wolf not your coach anymore? Jacob Preston, he's going to be at the 48 on second tackle. Seems your heart is with the Bulldogs. I couldn't care less who wins this game, bro. But at the end of the day, I did tip the Doggies to win 1 at 12. I celebrate the Dolphins try just like I celebrate the Dogs try. That's what we do here on the channel, mate. If you watching my reactions, like at the end of the day, I want my tip to be right, but I also don't really care. But I'll celebrate both teams scoring a try if it's a good try. But I've criticised the Dogs heavily throughout this game as well. Like, I don't know what you want from me. Fifth tackle now at the 15 for the Dogs. Bailey Hayward, Lachlan Galvin. Galvin kicks his ball through. Maybe a dropout, maybe a dropout. Well done, Doggies. Well done, Doggies. The thing is, man, what you've got to understand with this channel is I don't, unless it's the Titans, I don't care who wins. I do not care. I just want a good game of rugby league. I want to see teams that weren't expected, the upset to happen. That's awesome. That's the Australian culture. We love a good upset. We love a good underdog. I want to see good rugby league, and the Dogs have been absolutely putrid to watch so far this season. They're actually playing some relatively enjoyable footy this game, but there's still a lot of errors in them. But it's always good to see that. Like when the Dolphins came in over the top of the storm last week, that was great to see, but also there is still a lot of concerns in regards to the Redcliffe Dolphins. I don't know why people have this ultimate sense of hype consistently over the Dolphins when there is a lot of things to complain about and criticise in the hope that they can change it around, but they have to earn their way through defence, and so far they haven't really been defending that great because the Dogs don't typically score, and they've already scored 12 points this game with 14 points on offer. They go to the left-hand side of Lachlan Galvin. Galvin over the top here to Jonathan Sewer. Good cut off there from Jermaine Sarko. Sewer's still going here. Pushes away from a couple and he'll be taking out the 5. The Dogs could have won that game. Probably would have won that game had Jonathan Sewer passed that ball last week to take the lead when it was 12-12. Instead, he didn't knock the ball on. Cowboys went on to win that game. It's a game of momentum. Rugby league is a sport of momentum, and that momentum killed them. The Dogs still have it in them. They've just got to remember how to win. They have to remember how to win. Galvin across here to Jamin Salmon. That's a 4 pass. James is crazy, bro. I'm over in Ireland, and I used to watch a lot more NRL last year, but haven't tuned in this year until now. I used to watch all the streams. Hope you're keeping well. I was praying you'd be alive. I'm alive, mate. I'm alive, James. I'm alive, son. Don't you worry. I'm kicking up a storm over here in Vietnam. Kicking up a storm. There's a 4 pass there from Jamin Salmon, and the Dolphins will get this ball here at the 10. We're live for every single game here, man. We have not missed a single game rugby league this year. Danny Passer says, big up Connor Tracy, playing excellent, gets no credit. I give him credit. Connor Tracy's been really good here today, yeah. He's been spectacular. And I have said on all my stream, we'll criticise him when necessary, but I think Connor Tracy is overhated at the Dogs. Like, they've been so desperate to sign Jareen Buller, and yeah, I would have said yes to Jareen Buller for him if that was an option. There's an obstruction. That's so stupid from the Dolphins. Oh, dude, they've just given away an obstruction in their own 20. You're kidding, Dolphins. You're off your rocker. You're off your head. You're off your head. Hamiso to continue that play when he knew that an obstruction was coming is just disgusting. But also, who's the Dolphins player who stands in the line here and blocks a play? Oh my gosh, Max Plath, bro. Like, at the end of the day, Jamin Salmon has milked that deluxe, but also Max Plath, get out of the line, dude. 10 minutes to go in the first half here, guys. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new around here. Bailey Hayward goes to Lachlan Galvin at the 10, then off to Harry Hayes, and Harry Hayes is going to be 9 metres out from the line. Would love to see Leo Thompson go over, man. Is he on the field? He's not on the field, so he's not going to go over. Jamin Salmon off to Sean O'Sullivan. Galvin hits the grass. Not a great pass there at all. Isaka's away here. Isaka's away, Dogs. You are off your rocker. Oh, Dogs. Connor Tracy. Bostock. Bostock gets away from 1. Bostock gets taken down here at the 13. Now he gets the offload away. Herbie Farnworth. Farnworth taken down by Bailey Hayward. That's massive. That is awful from the Dogs, but also great scramble back. You're going to have numbers on the left-hand side here. You're going to have numbers on the left-hand side here. Are they going to get there? Nicarima gives it across here. Chance here for the Dolphins. Selwyn Cobbo will score, and it's 12-80 with the kick to come. Lachlan Galvin, that's on you. What are they saying? No try? No, he's calling try here. They're checking something? I don't know. What on earth was this pass from Lachlan Galvin? This is the way this game is playing out. The Dogs are all over him, bro. They're all over him. But the last pass and the attack is costing them big time. And Asako has then just picked the ball up off the grass. Really well done here from the Dogs to chase back. Connor Tracy makes the tackle there on Bostock. Well, he doesn't make it, but he stops him. They get the ball back here to Herbie Farnworth. Bailey Hayward makes a massive tackle to lock him down. And then always, when you've made this breakaway, you have to spread the ball to the other side of the field and you score. And it's my biggest pet peeve when teams don't do this. So they do this here. I don't know what the referee was talking about in regards to penalty and whatnot. Maybe something earlier on in the play. But either way, Dogs, you were doing this to yourselves again. The Dolphins have been awful today. They have been just absolutely putrid to watch. And you have actually dominated this game here, Canterbury, and yet you're still giving them every chance to be in this game. Every single chance to be in this game. Great scramble Finns. Great scramble by the Finns. That was a great scramble by the Dogs until, obviously, when you get a breakaway down the right-hand side, you always pass it completely opposite side of the field because they will have come across to you. I was devastated to hear that Daniel Saifidi had to medically retire at the Dolphins this week. Yeah, that was sad to see. But yeah, this is a try time for the Dolphins and Selwyn Cobbo. They make the breakaway and the Dolphins will score. And this is what the Dolphins can do. You know, you can't give them that opportunity, man. You are literally losing this game for yourselves here at the moment, Dogs. Even though you're going to be leading by 2 points regardless. If Saka gets this, it's still 4. No, if Saka gets this, it's 2. But if he misses, it's 4. You're literally losing this game for yourself right now. James is taking, they missed the conversion, yeah? Well, no, we're waiting for the conversion. Jermaine Sarko is about to take it now. Jermaine Sarko from the wing. He's going to miss this one too. Yep. 12-8. 12-8 to the Doggies with 7 minutes to go in the first half. It's unfortunate. Sarko on fire in regards to his playing. Yeah, his kicking wise, he's missed both his kicks though. But yeah, he's been playing really, really well today. But also, like, Sarko's just had to pick this ball up. Well done to Asako pushing off of Sewer, who you could have argued was nearly... Hold on. If he could have easily taken him out there and it would have been a penalty. Adam Fury says, what happened to the Dogs' defense? Wasn't that their strong suit? This isn't a try of defense, though. This is a try and attack. The Bulldogs have conceded a try on their own attack. The first try was on their own pathetic defense. That was poor. The second try for the Dolphins is not on the Dogs' defense. It's on the Dogs' attack because Galvin passes the ball to ground back at the 20. Isaka picks it up, runs 90 metres. They then get the ball and spread it out to the left-hand side. You can't blame the defense for not being in line when you've had to run 90, 100 metres back to prevent the play. So you can't blame the Dogs' defense for that try. But the first try, you can definitely blame them for Jermaine Isaka scoring the first one. Adam Fury, that's right. Clownmate says, let me guess, Cameron Serrata will try to sugarcoat things, be a complete yes man again, might as well start a whole circle jog at half time. Well, you still should be happy. At the end of the day, you are up 12-8. But you should be, realistically, based on how this game's gone, I would have said that you should be up 18-20 bloody nil. You really should be, because the Dolphins have had absolutely nothing. I don't think they've been tackled in the 20 once. Maybe that last play was their first tackle in the 20. Scored 2 tries. I think they've been tackled in the 20 once, and that was the last play, which they ended up scoring from on that literal next tackle. All the field position for the Dogs in this half just to fall down time and time again, yeah. But at least it's shaping up to be a close game here. Stephen Crichton, I guess it's ball to the 45. I'm just happy that I wasn't completely offered in the fact that the Dogs had a chance in this game. That doesn't necessarily mean they win, but predicting the Dogs won at 12 shows right now that they're up by 4 with 5 minutes to go in the first half, that they had a chance. It's just they're kind of really blowing themselves apart at the moment. Fifth tackle here at the 30. 5 minutes to go here this first half. And Preston's grabbing at his right leg here. Maybe just a little bit of a stinger. I think that's great off to kick it. This might be a penalty. No, it's not going to be. It's going to be Hamisa Tabuai-Fidow taking down to the 5 on first tackle. How do you miss both, man? Well, they're both on the wings, so they're both very difficult kicks. Clements, can't wait for this. This is a brave effort from the Bulldogs tweet from Gus. Yeah, there's a penalty against the Dogs. You're losing the game yourselves, Dogs. You are. You are losing this game yourself, and I'm telling you, I speak from experience because I watch the Titans every week. Junior says, oh no, Galvin, how the momentum has changed. Well, it's not even that the Dolphins have significant momentum, but the Dogs just... If the Dogs lose this first half, 14-12, yeah, surely the Dolphins just win 13+. Dolphins might even still score down more 50. If the Dogs lose this first half, despite how much has gone their way and how much they have dominated with the possession for the most part, if they find a way to go down 14-12 or even at 12-12 at half time, just disgraceful. So they go to the left here to Tom Gilbert, 6 again here for the Dolphins. So it's first tackle at the 45. Watch them score right before half time. Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. The Dolphins did this last week before they ran a mark against the Storm. Max Platt taken down to the 35, and there's a penalty here to the Dolphins. High tackle. High tackle. You are losing this game yourselves here, Dogs. You are Galvin passing that ball. So here's the momentum shift you were talking about, Ben. Galvin passing that ball in the grass for that try for the Dolphins has completely changed any of the good work and every part of the good work the Dogs have put into this game so far. First tackle for the Dolphins, they're going to be 33 metres out from the line, and you would fully expect with the Dolphins' attack and the Dogs' defence this year, you would fully expect the Dolphins to score in this set, and that's going to be a tackle off the ball there. There's a penalty to the Dolphins, yep. Another penalty, you might get a bin here, Dogs. You're off your rocker. You guys are just throwing the game. You're throwing the game for yourselves. You're throwing the game for yourselves here. You are throwing the game yourselves here, Canterbury Bulldogs. You're going to get binned on the next penalty. You 100% are about to get binned on the next penalty if you don't sharpen your shit up immediately. Now, a little bit of a biffo here too. So I could tell, yeah, you knew that was coming against Preston straight away. Show us the doggy shirt. The doggy shirt? I'm not wearing a doggy shirt. It's an Adidas shirt. Oh, there is going to be a bin. This is going to be a bin for Preston. This is going to be a bin for Jacob Preston here, lads. Tackle's completely unnecessary. Elevated risk of force. Doesn't have the ball. It's in the bin. Wow. Don't know if I agree with it. I would have been okay with the next one, but sure. But that is a bin. That is a bin. I don't know about it. I don't know if I would agree with that. It's an interesting call. That is an interesting call here. Preston, it's a late hit, but also a bin is pretty wild. A bin's pretty wild to call that. But it's definitely a penalty, but a bin's insane, especially considering we saw Flegler not go to the bin before for the direct shoulder contact to the head despite mitigation. Like, I'm surprised that that's classified as a sin bin, what we just saw. Well, the Dogs should definitely concede right now. Hamiso gets his ball to the 20 on second tackle. If you don't concede here, it's a miracle, Dogs. It's a miracle. Second tackle here at the 20, 3 minutes to go the first half. He won't come back until there's 7 minutes gone the second half. Nikorima, Bostock throws the ball maybe over the sideline. No, Isaka picks it up before it goes over. And he'll be taken down to the 25 and third tackle. Dogs, you're going to keep on with this defense. Looked worse than it was. Yeah, I just don't believe that was a sin bin for sure. Isaka Toa off the Fiwiaki, taking up the 20 on 4 tackle. He may be putting his name down for a definitely extended origin. Quick passing. Herbie Farnworth gets around from 7 Crichton. 6 again here for the Dolphins. Oh, you have to score here, Dolphins. You have to score here. First tackle to 15, off to Tom Gilbert. Gilbert now. Bailey Haywood makes the tackle alongside Lachlan Galvin at the 5. Second tackle. They're going to roll this ball out the back, gives it off to Sagatoa. There's numbers galore. Bostock, wow, they made the wrong play there. That was a guaranteed try, 4 on 2, and they pass it inside to Bostock, and he gets tackled at the 5. That was the wrong play from the Dolphins. It's Sagatoa now after Max Platt. Max Platt will be taken down to 10. 4th tackle. Wow, that's turned into an awful play from the Dolphins, that last tackle. It's Sagatoa to the right-hand side to Nikorima. Too easy for Sagatoa. You deserve it, Dogs. You deserve it. You've done this to yourselves. You did it to yourselves, Dogs. You did this to yourselves. You should have been up in this half by dead set like 20 points. You should have been up in this half by 20 points. That's too easy there for the Dolphins. You give them the opportunities, they're going to capitalise on it. They have the attack. The Dolphins have been really bad in this game. I need to really emphasise this. The Dolphins have been really bad. But the reason why they're able to score these tries is because you keep giving them opportunities to get themselves back into this game where they can put their form back into the front foot and they can turn this game into their own. And right now they're turning this game into their own because you're knocking the ball on. You've got most of the possession. You're now giving away penalties to kind of equal up that count that you were receiving at the beginning part of this game. Your defense is still not there. And the pass from Lachlan Galvin was so bad that it's completely changed momentum. You were up 12-4 like literally 3 minutes, or like literally 5 to 6 minutes ago. Now it's 12-12 with a kick to come to make it to 14-12. You're doing it against yourself. But that bin, probably controversial. At the end of the day, this was coming though. This result here for the Dolphins was coming based off of your play in this first half. Sam says, howdy, a big dog slapper. Slapper says, dogs are getting worse each week. I think that they've shown a lot of better signs here today, but have still found a way to throw the game away. That pass is brilliant, by the way. That pass to Osaka was spectacular. Was that Isaka Toa? Was that Isaka Toa? Dogs of poor, Breton says. New Zealand guy says, score here. It's always going to happen. Lem Candy's a Muppet Dad, should be demoted. So Jermaine Sarko here from the sideline, and he will get this one. It is 14-12. You deserve it, Dogs. You deserve it. Argue it. Please, feel free, Dogs fans. Feel free to tell me in the chat how you don't deserve what we're watching right now. Feel free to find a way to argue it. And just to remind you, the Dolphins are not playing spectacular footy here. You're doing it to yourself. And if you lose this game, there is a chance you go into the bottom 4 this week. Just wild, mate. 14-12 here to the Dolphins with 30 seconds to go here. Adam says, Dogs were running straight and hard earlier. They were showing similar signs to when they beat the Panthers. Agree. But I really don't understand how it all went downhill. 100%. But they've been showing signs of giving away, these knock-ons. They've had so many attacking opportunities inside the attack in 20 in this game here today. But then you get just a pathetic knock-on from Samuel Hughes. Just absolutely pathetic. You see just knock-ons across the park there from the Dogs. And every time, I always say, if a team scores right before half-time, typically they're going to win this game. I would fully expect the Dolphins should just go on and win this game 13+, because the Dogs are so disappointing to watch, man. They really are. Nikorima out of the left-hand side of the 30, then up to Farnworth, and Farnworth will be taken out of the 30. That's half-time. Go into the sheds. Serraldo, if you find a positive out of that first half, they'll do me. It'll do me because, well, you know what? There are some relative positives, but if you for a second try and say that this is an okay result here for the Dogs at the first half, I'm off. You're off your rocker. You're off your rocker. Sutter says, the fact that Dogs are losing after the amount of possession, field position, and penalty count they had is actually astounding. It is. And it shows you there is so much going wrong here internally at this organisation right now, and there is so much going wrong here with this Bulldogs team as a team collective, and it has all started since halfway through last year where they decided to change everything around. I said last week, I said the week beforehand, and I'll say it again here today. Name me one single positive that has come out of the Bulldogs organisation and Bulldogs as a club since halfway through last year. One single positive. If you can, and I'm genuinely asking this, if you can find it, and I'll maybe agree with it. So please, if you can find one single positive, and don't give me some individual 8-6 loss to the Panthers as if like that's going to tell us a significant amount about that's a positive. I want you to give me a general positive about what this Bulldogs team has shown since halfway through last year when they decided to blow up a team that had lost like one game to start the season. In regards to their halfback, in regards to their hooker, in regards to so many things. And then they brought in a young player in Lachlan Galvin, who is not a 7. He is also playing in this game as a 6, but he's trying to be a 7, which he's not a 7. Why can't the Dogs see this? Why can you not see that Lachlan Galvin is not a 7? He is not a game managing halfback. It's just really that simple. But also, you decided this. You chose this. This was your decision to make halfway through the season last year when you did have a 7 in Toby Sexton. Now, Toby's someone with the Perth Bears. Do I think Toby is the most amazing player of all time? No, I do not. But also, why fix something that's not broke? If it's not broke, why are you fixing it? Look, I understand the long-term vision and whatnot, but why are you putting him into a position that he obviously isn't a player for? He is not a game-defining 7. He is more of a runner of the ball. A 7 is not typically the runner of the ball. The 6 is more typically the runner of the ball. And that's why I keep comparing Lachlan Galvin to Jaden Campbell, which Josh Hannay has bit the bullet and said, you know what, Jaden Campbell, you are in the 6 now for the Titans, and Zane Harrison comes into the 7. And again, I think if Mitchell Woods was actually not injured right now, I think Mitchell Woods would go into the 7, and I think Lachlan Galvin would go into the 6. But then again, I don't know, because Serraldo seems right now like he's very stubborn and does not want to change his team around. It's shown Adam O'Brien is a great coach, perfect match of club and coach. And that's another thing. Like, going and signing him as an attacking coach absolutely does me in. But anyway, let's get into the halftime stats, to read through how this game is ultimately playing out to back in effectively what we are saying here. And if you haven't been watching the game, just know this last 5 to 10 minutes has evened itself out, is what I'll say. Because the Dogs dominated the first 30, even 35, really. They really did, but they found a way to lose the half still. But anyway, let's get into the stats. So hit that thumbs up button, guys. Subscribe if you are new around here. The Dolphins 14, the Dogs are 12. This is at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. The tries for the Dolphins, Jermaine Sarko, Selwyn Cobbo and Jermaine Sarko, with 1 from 3 on the conversions for Jermaine Sarko. And then we go to the Dogs, where they've got 2 tries. So it's actually 3 tries to 2 right now. But Jamin Salmon and Stephen Crichton, with Stephen Crichton 1 from 2 in the conversions, but they do have that penalty goal. But obviously, you also have the sin bin of Jacob Preston in the 36th minute, which was dubious. I don't know if I would call it a bin, but it was definitely a penalty. I don't know if I'd call it a bin, though. Possession and completions wise, 48% here for the Dolphins, 52% for the Dogs. This would have been 70% in the first 20 minutes of this game. It was all Dogs. Taz has already changed his name to Fins Up, mate. This season is more diabolical in 2021 and 2023 combined. I think it's the expectations that kill you. But 52% and 48% does not really show the reflection of the entire 40, but it shows you how significant that last 10 minutes was where the Dogs just really threw the game away, because they were up 12 points to 4 with 10 minutes to go. Actually, when were they up 12 points to 4? Yeah, they were up 12 points to 4 with 9 minutes to go in that first half, and now it's 14 points to 12 to the Dolphins. And they've got a bin to boot with that as well. Now, time of possession, this is actually diabolical. This is diabolical. So 25 minutes is the threshold that you're looking for. That's an enjoyable game of rugby league where it is ball in play, you're seeing ball movement the whole time. We've seen half of a game here not being played out. 10 minutes and 6 seconds for the Dolphins, 10 minutes, 54 seconds for the Bulldogs. That's 21 minutes of gameplay you've watched today. Out of a total 40 minutes, you've seen 21 minutes of gameplay in that first half. That's disgraceful. That's not against either team necessarily, but it comes down to the amount of penalties we've seen. The Dolphins actually haven't made too many errors, but 11 penalties? Yikes, that's a bad amount of penalties in this game. That's really taking away from the free-flowing nature of it all. This is a lot of reasons why people criticise rugby union. And now we go to, and the penalties have been legitimate too, mind you. Sin bin, maybe not so much, but the penalties have been legitimate. Completion rate, 80% is what you're looking for here. This is why the Dolphins win the game, essentially. 85% here for the Dolphins, that's very good. 17 from 20. So they've been awful here today in a lot of this game, but yet their completion rate is very sweet, very sound. That's why you wouldn't be complaining about that. And ultimately, based on what we've seen for the Dogs, they definitely deserve to be in the lead right now. But 73% for the Dogs, 14 from 19. It's not awful, but it's also not at the 80%, and it's also not even at the 75%. They're at 73%. That is not spectacular. Then we go to the runs-wise. 73 runs here for the Dolphins for 688 run meters. That's about 42 run meters behind the 10 meters on average per run that you're looking for. Whilst the Dogs, they're at 76 for 745 run meters. So right now, they are 15 meters behind the 10 minutes on average per run that you're looking for. So they are a bit off there. The Dogs, 77 for 752 now, so they are 18 run meters behind it. What that's showing is that the Dogs are actually doing more with the ball when they've got it, but the errors are crucifying them. The errors are really slapping them in. And then when we look at the post-contact, they are dominating the post-contact in this game. But if you give 10 minutes an average per run to the Dolphins with the extra 40, which is a little bit unfair because, again, they're 42 meters behind the 10 minutes an average per run that you're looking for. But if you give them that extra 40, it would go to 698, 708, 718, 728. That'd still be about 30... They'd be about 24 metres behind the Dogs, but that's with an unfair statistic giving them 10 minutes average per run. So that tells you that the Dogs are doing more with the run metre department. And then the post-contact metres, it's 267 for the Dogs to 204 for the Dolphins. That's only 4 runs separating the two of them. They've got 63 post-contact metres more than the Dolphins. They are demolishing them in regards to the post-contact metre battle here. But the score is 14-12. The line breaks is 3-3. That's a healthy amount of line breaks of both teams there. Tackle breaks. Well, Dogs here, there's definitely no Dogs of War defense right now. That's for sure. Tackle breaks, 21 for the Dolphins, 9 for the Dogs. So the Dolphins are earning their way to win their games through defense. This is what we were calling for, and that's what they're showing, even though the Dogs are a very helping hand in regards to a team like the Dolphins needing to not have to face unbelievable attack right now. But 9 tackle breaks, Dogs, that's bad. Dolphins, that's great defense. Average set distance. Now, this tells you everything you need to know. So, 25 metres and below is pathetic to the stream of. 25 to 30 is disgusting. 30 to 35 is underwhelming. 35 to 40 is hitting the marker. 40 to 45 is great. 45 to 50 is fantastic. And 50 plus is essentially perfect. The Dolphins are at 34.43. This is benefited by multiple runs of a good 50 to 90 metres. So this average set distance, ultimately, they would be underneath 30 without those massive 90-metre plays through Jermaine Isako and also the 50-metre breakaway from Isako on the right wing. He's done 2 massive breakaways so far. Average set distance, ultimately, without those 2 individual runs, would be underneath the 30. So they are in the underwhelming category with that benefit right now. But the Dogs are at 39.58. They're close to a great category. They're making a normal amount of run meters, average set distance. Like it's decent, it's okay, it's hitting the marker, and it's getting really close to the great category. They're not quite there just yet, but they're close enough to it. They are up by about 6 meters on the Dolphins right now in regards to the set distance, and again, that's with massive 90-meter and 50-meter breakaway there for the Dolphins in Isako. So it would tell you how low that Dolphins average set distance would be without those 2 massive runs there. But you go to the average play the ball speed. 3.19 seconds and below is extremely fast. 3.2 to 3.39 is fast. 3.4 to 3.59 is average. 3.6 to 3.79 is slow. And 3.8 and above is extremely slow. 3.26 seconds here for the Dolphins is fast. It's pretty speedy stuff. Whilst the Dogs are at 3.42 seconds, that's the average category, getting close to the fast, but it is average. So there is a 0.16 second gap between the two teams right now, with the Dolphins obviously playing fast, so that's what they do. The offloads, 4-3 to the Dogs, nothing to write home about there for either team. Forced dropouts is 1-0 against the Dogs. Kick defusal, 50% for the Dogs, 0% for the Dolphins. And then we go to the effective tackle percentage. This is just diabolical here. So 85% and below is awful. 85% to 88% is underwhelming. 88% to 90% is hitting the marker. And 90% and above is perfect. 91.71% here for the Dolphins. 166 tackles made. That is in the 160 to 180 range of what you would typically see. 9 missed tackles is amazing. 15 to 17 is the average missed tackles. They're 6 underneath that. And the ineffective tackles is 6. So 4 to 6 is the average. They're on the higher end of that average there. So 15 bad tackles in the first half. Very good with 166 tackles made. But also, look at the team they're playing. Don't give me the Dragons nonsense, because we in round 1 saw that people said the Dragons defense was amazing against the Dogs, and the Dragons were going to be a good team this year. That's not been the case. So whilst this defense of the Dolphins has shown a similar trajectory to earning their right to attack through defense. They also, even against the Storm last week, were quite a lot higher than that. So the Dogs right now are just the most infuriating team to watch on defense, because you know what they did last year. You know how they've really developed their team to be a defensive mindset of the last couple of years, and they are so far away from that right now. And then you go to the Dogs, 84.83%. They're in the awful category. They're not even in underwhelming. They're underneath 85%. 151 tackles made is 9 less than the typical 160 to 180. 21 missed tackles is 4 above the highest of the average of a fitness 17, and the ineffective tackles is 6, which is in the middle of the 5 to 7 average. The key thing here is that the Dolphins have made 15 more tackles. The Dolphins have made 15 more tackles than the Canterbury Bulldogs here, and yet they've had 12 less missed tackles and the same amount of ineffective tackles. So with 15 less tackles for the Dogs, they've had 28 bad tackles in the first half, whilst the Dolphins have had 15 bad tackles in the first half. Please, anyone who's a Dogs fan, try and defend it, because your defense of that will be as good as the Dogs' defense right now. It is really poor and nowhere near up to the standards that we know we should expect from your club. And then we go to the negative play. Errors 3 and below is really good. 4 to 6 is average. 7 above is awful. 2 errors here for the Dolphins. It's really good. Dogs 6. You're not in the awful category, but that's still getting up there. That's still quite high on the average there, man. So that's disappointing. Penalties conceded, 7 to the Dolphins. All legitimate. 4 to the Dogs. All legitimate. It's all been legitimate. 11 penalties in this game is diabolical. Dolphins, that is pathetic. Dogs, that's getting close to pathetic, but it's still pretty bad for penalties. 3 is like the precipice where you're like, I don't know if it's good, but it's not really good, but it's also not awful. 4 is into the awful category. So don't even start with the 7 for the Dolphins. So that's poor from both teams there. And then you go to the ruck infringements, 2-2. Inside 10 metres is 2-1 against the Dogs. On reports is 1-0 against the Dogs. And sin bin is 1-0 against the Dogs. So right now, the Dogs have won a healthy amount of the stats here. They have won a healthy amount of stats, but the Dolphins are winning the most important stat, and also their defense has been just far superior. But also, is that the Dolphins' defense or is it the Dogs' attack? I would lean to say that, look, the Dolphins' defense is definitely improving this year, which you've seen throughout the year so far, but also the Dogs' attack is just absolutely pathetic. So this game is still completely up for grabs. It's only a 2-point game in favour of the Dolphins right now. But yeah, I would be leaning with the Dolphins to win this game 13+. Because the Dogs had every chance to win this game 1-12, and they still have a chance to win this game 1-12 if they come with the right mentality. But there's just no defending this Dogs team right now because their defense is not defending you. So if you defend the Dogs, well, they're going to leave you hanging, and they're going to leave you high and dry because their defense is not going to help your defense of them. So I will take the Dolphins here to win this game by a long way. But again, could the Dogs find a way to sneak past? Sure, but the Dolphins shouldn't have been leading at halftime. But they are, because you've done it to yourself. So that says if Dolphins score first, I can't see the Dogs coming back. 100% agree. 1,000,000% agree. If the Dolphins score first, I can see this being 50. I could see this being an absolute gigantic rip snorter of a blowout where the Dogs get completely embarrassed here. Because the Dolphins are typically more so a second half team than a first half team too, mind you. Whilst the Dogs are a no half team right now. It's disappointing. You know, you want to see the best rugby league on offer. You do. And the Dogs have been good these last couple of years, but it is disappointing right now. Ben says, it's actually hard to believe that the Finns have more completed sets than the Dogs. Yeah. Benny West says, watch the first 10 minutes of Dogs vs Eels semi-final when Paul Carriage missed up. What does that have to do with anything? That gives us an example of rugby league refereed properly. Okay. Fins Up Mate says, hey Dogs fans, just remember we cannot complain or say anything negative about the club because it's not what a paying loyal customer will do, as Reed Marnie said in 23. Just hop on the bandwagon. If you're talking about the media team and what your media manager said, yeah, I didn't like what she said. She should have handled it better, is what I would say. But also, they're coming from a player mental health, player mental welfare kind of deal perspective, where you guys aren't seeing the messages the players receive. I've seen them, so I know kind of what they're talking about. But she handled it inappropriately. Yeah, she didn't handle it the correct way. But she's coming from a different perspective to kind of how fans treat the game. I can't see the Dogs coming back full stop. Disagree, man. I don't think they do, but that's a very... I'm not calling you ignorant, but I'm saying it's an ignorant thought process to think that a team that's down by 2 points at halftime can't come back in a game. I think that's an ignorant thought process. Again, not calling you ignorant, just saying the thought process is relatively ignorant in a lot of ways. Give me 1 second here, guys. I'll be back in 2 seconds. The game is about to kick off. Give me 1 moment. We're back. We're back. All right. Preston's still being in the bin. It's a big yikes. The Finns get off to a good start. Yeah, for the first 7 minutes here, he's still in the bin. Yeah. And it says, why isn't Galvin in the 6? Because they put O'Sullivan into the 6 and kept Galvin into the 7, which continues to tell me that they're just not going to put Galvin into the 6 even though he's a 6. Second half has started here, guys. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Let's see what the Doggies can do, or if the Dolphins can just put a sword past them. The Dogs will get this ball out here to the 15. Don't forget as well, the Dogs have scored 2 tries, the Dolphins have scored 3 tries. It's just the missed kicks for the Dolphins is keeping it close, and also the fact that the Dogs got a penalty. So 5 minutes 42 left of the bin here for Jacob Preston. Third tackle out the 30. Don't let that close possession distract you from the fact that it was 60-40 with 8 minutes to go. It was 60-40 with 8 minutes to go, was it, Daz? Wow. I knew it was heavy. I know in the first 20 it was like 70-30. Edson says, fire up, bro. We always thought Galvin was a gun at 6. Galvin is a gun at 6, mate. In my opinion, anyway. But for some reason, teams are trying to really force him into this 7 role. It just doesn't make sense. And players like Lachlan Galvin should be such a high emphasis in regards to the people who try to argue that 6 and 7 is essentially the same position. It is not. I know they've just got numbers on their backs, but they're just different responsibilities. And it's been a thing for 120 odd years now, 118 odd years now, that this is just how it works. A 6 is designed completely differently to how a 7 is designed. I don't know why people want to have this like complete argument, or they're out of the right side. Jermaine Sarko is Sarko at the 45 on 4 tackle. That a 6 and a 7 is the same thing. It just simply isn't. And Lachlan Galvin's great proof of that. And they give it out to Nicarima. Short ball here to Lemuelu. He's away. This game's going to be 13 plus, isn't it? And Tracy slips over. Someone coming back onto the inside. Taken down. He's lost the ball. Oh, Cobbo, no. Cobbo, no, bro. Take the ball down. You can't get the ball away. Take the ball down. Knock on from Selwyn Cobbo. Yeah, so Benny, I'm gonna time you out for 5 minutes here, man. Enough with the conspiracies and stuff. Like I see with every single comment that you have on this channel, you're entitled to have your opinion in regards to conspiracies and all this type of stuff. That's fine, man. But we don't need to hear about it 24/7 in regards to, what you're trying to allude to. I'm fully aware of what you're trying to allude to, but it's just not the vibe, man. It really brings down the vibe in regards to what we're watching. Just take it as the entertainment product that it is. This is an entertainment product. Rugby league is entertainment only. What are you expecting out of this? Like, the comments are just so consistent in regards to the constant negativity surrounding a conspiracy regarding pretty much everything in life, realistically. So I'm just going to give you time of 5 minutes just so you can kind of get on our wavelength here, man. Your opinion's fine. We just don't need to hear about that 24/7, mate. So 4 tackle now at the 42. They get the ball offloaded here on 3rd tackle. Bailey Hayward to Tupanua. Tupanua with a great run here. He'll be taken down to the 44 and 4 tackle. Alex says, I knew Dolphins were going to come up with some magic. It's not been them. It's been the Dogs, bro. It's just not that. It's not even really been the Dolphins. But the Dolphins have done what they've needed to do, but the Dogs have been their own worst enemies. We'll get this ball up. And Amiso gets the ball here at the 10. On 1st tackle. Rugby League says, don't think that's a knock-on. It's called a knock-on every day of the week, bro. I know what you're trying to say, but that is just consistently called as a knock-on, and all we ask for is consistency, which is what the referee's on here, giving a penalty to Selwyn Cobbo. Chaotic round, this is the first game. I don't know what he's talking about. What do you think about the Gold Coast selecting Zane Harrison, but the Bulldogs won't select Mitchell Woods? I believe Mitchell Woods is injured. Otherwise, I'd be complaining that he's not being selected. Dragons selected Cade Reed. They made the decision. Titans, I've been calling for Zane Harrison for years now to be a 7. Finally goes in. I've been saying JT's at 6. Finally goes 6. So Dolphins get the ball here at the 30. On their own side of the field. Still about maybe a minute or 2 left of the Jacob Preston sin bin. I believe that Mitchell Woods should be debuting if he was uninjured. But I believe he is injured. If he isn't injured, then it's ridiculous. It's the first game. Yes, it is the first game. So 2nd tackle, they give it off to Max Plath, and now it's Ray Stone, who will be at the 45 on 3rd tackle. Just don't concede whilst you got this man in the bin, Dogs, and you give yourself a chance to maybe come back. And it's not even a comeback, it's only 2 points, but you give yourselves a chance in this game. But if you go down again here, I just don't see a way back. There's an obstruction here. They're going to be out to Jermaine Asako on the right-hand side, and Asako will score. There might be an obstruction back here, though, but Asako's had a spectacular game. This is a hat trick here, but I just want to go back and have a look at potentially an obstruction on the inside here, which might be the case, because I did say originally before the break wave had happened, but Jermaine Asako has scored a try, and it should be 20-12 any moment now. It's been way too easy down that right-hand side. The defense has been pathetic on the left edge for the Dogs, but I just want to see the inside play here. Oh, no, there's nothing of an obstruction. Nothing. No way. No, not at all. So it is just a complete try that Jermaine Asako. There's absolutely nothing to worry about there. It's a guaranteed try. Just bad defense here. Bad defense from the Dogs again. Just awful. Bronson Terry's come inside. Jonathan Silver's forced to come inside as well. And Dolphins just way too easy. Yeah, it amazes you, GTR. How did the Dogs beat the Panthers? How did this team beat the Penrith Panthers? It is astounding. It is absolutely astounding. Where's Sewer, as it says? Sewer had to come in because Bronson Terry's come in. So Jermaine Asako to kick this one from the right-hand side. Dad said, May says, Mitch Woods, every time he's looking good for selection, he gets injured. The Dogs are in trouble, man. The Dogs are in trouble. Because the people in charge believe that everything they touch turns to gold. And right now, that is the complete opposite. Saka would be an immortal if he played against this edge defense every week. Mate, Jaden Ockenball would be an immortal if he played against this defense every week. Up the Gold Coast Titans, the Dogs making Asako look like prime Jared Hayne. Well, let's not pretend like Jermaine Asako isn't a fantastic player. He's gone to the Storm next year too. So 20-12 into the Dolphins with 33 minutes to go here in the game. Jacob Preston's coming back on the field now, by the way. Let's not pretend like that Jermaine Asako isn't a spectacular winger, but also, this is just really poor defense from the Dogs. Really poor defense. I know the Dogs have been all over the shop, but Asako's running has been electric. Asako's been great. Jaden Ockenball. I'll never forgive him for what he did to the Titans that day. So Dogs are about to kick this ball off here from the halfway point. You're down by 8. You need to be the next to score. It's funny, the Panthers could be down by... Oh, Jermaine Asako's away again. You're off your rocker, Dogs. Your defense on that left edge is just putrid. Jonathan Sewer and Bronson Terry, you guys in this game have not been anywhere close to the standard of rugby league. Not even close. Got Dolphins plus 30.5. Plus 30.5? Dolphins were $1.50 favourites here for this game here today, Jess. Plus 30.5? What was that paying? Like 98 cents? You were losing 2 cents if it won? Plus 30.5, or are you saying minus 30.5? Minus 30.5 makes a lot more sense than plus 30.5. So the Dolphins now, they're going to be at the 35 on fit tackle. Ockenball would no longer be interested in scoring if it went over 6. Okay, we're not reading the rest of that out. Even though I kind of read... Oh, Jonathan Stewart's knocked the ball on. Oh, I can't do it with him, eh? Jonathan Stewart last week, I believe, cost you against the Cowboys, and he's having just an absolutely horrific game here today for you as well. Jonathan Stewart will knock the ball on the 5. You probably... I did say if the Dolphins score first in the second half, they could go on and score 50. Well, right now, thought processes. It's either the Dolphins win 13 plus, the Dogs win 1-12. The Dogs had every chance to win 1-12, but they just continue to disappoint dramatically when they had a great chance in this game at 12-4. And now the Dolphins just probably route this game 13 plus. It's Katoa at the back to Nikorima, and Nikorima to the 15, back to the 20 on first tackle. Just goes from bad for worse. Oh. You've got Dolphins over 30.5 points. So that's different. You've got to say that. Over 30.5 points makes sense. Jess, I think that definitely comes off for you. I thought you were saying plus 30.5 on the handicap, which is usually what that means. Yeah, you say over 30.5 points, then that would make sense. Third tackle here at the 3. Out to the right. Isai Katoa, Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow. Hamiso back at the 10, pushed away from 1, pushed away from 2, taking down to 5. 4 tackle. Roll it back into Marshall King. Used to play the Dogs, Marshall King. Gives it off here to Sakatoa, then to Nikorima, Herbie Farnworth, and Farnworth taken down to the 13. Now he gets the offload away, knocked it back to Cobbo. They're just playing freely here, the Dolphins. Playing freely because they know they can play however they want against this Dogs defense right now. Fit tackle at 13. They give it to Max Platt. Platt off to Psychotoa back on the inside into Farmworth, and he'll be taken out of the 9. Well, no, that's tackle completed. I was going to say. He was like waiting on the ground for an offload for like a good 2 seconds before the referee said, no, you can't do that. 30 minutes to go. Here the game, guys. 10 minutes gone in the second half. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. How many NRLs won on a kick? Yeah, well, a kick would have made the most sense, but they gave it to Herbie Farmworth. They risked it with a nice little inside run from Herbie. Are you confident the Bulldogs can get to 20 points, let alone win this game? I'm not. The only time the Bulldogs have really gone over 20 this year, well, the only time they have gone over 20, I'd say, is against the Panthers, which was great, and then against the Rabbitohs, but the Rabbitohs, that was a consolation try when they probably lost the game by far. Bailey Hayward to Lachlan Galvin, and Galvin taken down to the 25 on 4th tackle. Hope he passed the ball about 30 minutes later, yeah. Kind of Tracy now gets the offload away to Galvin. They get across here to Tupanua. Tupanua off to Stephen Crichton. They're away here. Stephen Crichton back on the inside. Lost the ball. This is your captain. Oh, it's a nightmare for your Dogs fans. It's a nightmare for you. This is a nightmare. Watching Dogs games is a nightmare in 2026. Stephen Crichton breaks away and then loses the ball at the 43. And this is the biggest issue. The Dolphins probably go and score now. How good is Crichton? Before this year, I believe he was the best centre in the game. This year, contextually, he's one of the worst players in this game at the moment. At the moment, I know he scored a try before, but it was a set-up try from Colin Tracy. Crichton didn't have to do anything. He just had to catch the ball and put the ball down. Crichton has been so disappointing this year. Jeremy says, hey brother, how's your night? Let's go Dolphins. No, it's gone all right, mate. I just wish we had better quality football here from the Dogs. The Dolphins are well and truly deserving of going on with this game. They were awful in the first 30 minutes, the Dolphins, but since then, they've done what they've needed to do, and the Dogs have just been putrid to watch. 3rd tackle out the 35. Chat 5 minutes says, oh, captain, my captain, what? Exactly. Home of the NRL says, can't wait for a stinker of a game next week, Dogs versus Sharks. Well, we'll see how the Sharks play against the Rabbitohs, but if the Sharks win that, they've got a fantastic chance of going 3 wins in a row, or maybe 4 wins in a row. No, I think it's 3 wins in a row. 5th tackle out to 30. It's a great chance, point of the season, for the Sharks to get a bit of a roll on, especially with no Latrell. Latrell Mitchell for the Rabbitohs on Saturday. Dolphins kick it up to the 10, and Jonathan Sewer with an easy grab, and he'll be taking it back to the 5. Benny, bro, if you're going to try and skirt it, we'll just hide you, man. The fact that you can't listen to what we're saying is leading you down a path of just being hidden, and it doesn't matter how many accounts you provide. So just learn to read the room, mate. Otherwise, we'll just have to get rid of you, mate. 3rd tackle here at the 15. Time that one out too, moderators. Seb Watson says, Sharks versus Dogs next week. Just change them. Their name now for next week as well. Jeremy says, I agree. What's up with Crichton in front of a cliff? Absolutely. Colin Tracy gets his ball at the 33. 5th tackle. I love a conspiracy, Benny, but you're off your rocker. Like, it's too much from you. It's just too much from you, bro. You're a pain. You're a pain day in, day out. And then the manageable that you say about the Panthers is just off its rocker too. 1st tackle now at the 35. I think you were the same one who said the Panthers were going to finish like in the bottom 6 this year too, mind you. 2nd tackle here at the 40. 27 minutes to go here of the game. Do you think either of these teams can make the 8? Dogs right now, they don't look like it at all. Not on even the Dolphins. So, Dogs, you need to find a way to fire up right now. It's only 8 points the difference, but you need to find a way to do something. Farmworth's asking for a challenge here. I thought he did bubble it too. Sam says, Sharks vs Dogs next week. Just change their name now for next week. Benny, Joe Rogan's podcast is where you should be right now. I do love a bit of Joe Rogan, to be fair. And Farnworth, he's still got the ball here. Yeah, he's lost the ball for sure. Galvin's just making a tackle. It's an unsuccessful challenge. Galvin hasn't deliberately stripped that. What do you mean? Galvin's, his hands come down the ball, but he's not deliberately hit the ball out. And by the fact, it's just a loose carry. It's a loose carry. It's a loose carry. You can't say that Galvin's stripping this ball out. He's lost. It's a loose carry. It's 1,000,000% a loose carry. But it's touched Galvin's hand as it's coming out of his hand. Like, What are you talking about, though? So it's a loose carry from Herbie Farnworth, and Galvin's hand is on top of the ball. So if he's lost the ball and Galvin's touching the ball, that is a knock-on. Challenge successful, that doesn't make any sense. Yes, the ball comes down to his knee and then he regathers it, but at the end of the day, that is called a knock-on every single time because it's touched the player that is in front of him. It's touched Galvin in front of him. Galvin's hand is on top of the ball. So if you had to argue that it was a strip, I would have been okay and accepting of the fact that you've argued that it's a strip because his hand has come down the ball. But at the end of the day, how do you claim that that's not a knock-on and not a loose carry? You're not calling it a strip because if it was a strip, it was a 2-1 in the tackle, it's a penalty. So you're not calling it as a strip, but Galvin's definitely touched the ball. The ball's come loose. Yes, it goes down onto his legs, but that's called a knock-on every day of the week. So Dolphins ball here at the 45, on 6 again as well, first tackle. Bunker only flips the coin, don't stress. Yeah, I agree with that. That doesn't make sense, that call. Second tackle now at the 40, 27 minutes to go here of the game. I go out to the 30 now on third tackle. I'm not too sure who that was just then for the Dolphins. And now it's kind of Lemuelu at the 15 on fourth tackle. If they score here, it's game. Dogs, if they score here, it is game. Isai Katoa goes at himself. He'll be taken down to the 10 on fifth tackle. Bulldogs playing weird after their last win. Why now? After their last win? What do you mean? They've only had one solid win this year. Kind of Tracy. Great tackle by Herbie Farnworth. That is a fantastic tackle from Herbie Farnworth. It looked like Connor Tracy would get out of the in goal there, but Farnworth locks him down. Strip and regather. But you can't say it's a strip then, Jimmy, because if it was a strip, then it's a 2-1 in the tackle. There's 2 players in the tackle there from the Dogs, so it can't be a strip. Is that what they called? Because there was 2 players in the tackle. If that's what they called, then that should have been a penalty to the Dolphins rather than just Dolphins ball. Or did Dolphins get a penalty? Am I losing my mind here? I might be losing my mind here. Dolphins will get the short kick at the 13. I might be losing my mind. Did they get a penalty? But they said that he regathered it. So then if they're talking about regathered, then that doesn't have any meaning to it if it was a strip. Yeah, there's no way it was a strip. Exactly. So Dolphins here at the 10, they give it across here to Gilbert. There's no way. If they argue it's a strip, it makes it even look worse. They give it out to Isai Katoa. Katoa goes for himself, taking down the 4 tackle. Now they go to the left. Lemuelu. That was actually good defense for the first time in history from the Dogs. Fifth tackle now 4 metres away from the line. 9-metre game. They give it off to Isai Katoa. Katoa puts that one up. Sewer catches it in the field of play. It's going to be another dropout here unless they can push him out. No, it's a penalty to the Dolphins. Penalty to the Dolphins for I believe, an escort. I was asking the question. I'm not watching the game. Okay, fair enough, Jimmy. Yeah, no, it wasn't a penalty. They said it wasn't a strip because if it was a strip, it was a 2-1 on the tackle. And if it was a strip, then obviously it was a penalty, but they didn't give a penalty. They said that if the ball comes out, but it goes onto his knee and he regathers it, but Lachlan Galvin's hand is on the ball. So as the ball is free, that is then a loose carry, and the player in front of him is touching the ball. It's called a knock-on 100% of the time. First tackle now at the 10. They go out to the right to Isai Katoa. The Dolphins have just been attacking the second half. The Dogs are just not doing anything to change that around. And by the way, you know how it was 6-1 penalties to the Dolphins in the first 20? Well, it's now 7-6 in regards to penalties to the Dolphins. That seemed like Dogs have given away 7, Dolphins 6. Marshall King, now Gilbert at the 3. That's who I couldn't recognise before. It was Marshall King. Fourth tackle, goes himself. Try time, game over. Dogs, you are a bottom 4 team this year, the way you're playing. Marshall King goes straight over. Your defence is not up to scratch. Dogs, you are going to lose this game. You are going to lose this game, and it's about to be 26 points to 12 with 23 minutes to go. Here, you still may get slapped. Way too easy of a try here for Marshall King. He just walks over the line. Not good enough there from Alec Lasimi and also Sitili Tupanua. Alec Lasimi gets caught out massively there. Your job, Alec Lasimi, your job is to prevent that play. And you've let that one straight in. So Marshall King, way too easy. It's about to be 26-12. And truly, Dogs, you're the biggest disappointment in 2026 so far. It's a New South Wales Cup try Rugby League Therapy podcast. It is. This is a shit show now. This is a shit show. But this is what the Dogs do every game this year. Bulldogs need a Tracy McGrady comeback. End our season now. Put a number I can't mention on us. A number? You can't... Oh, I get what you mean, yeah. Like, I don't think they have enough time to get 50 in the next 22 and a half minutes. But, geez, you just... As a neutral, you just look at this and go, how have you gone so wrong? You've just gone so backwards so quickly. And then it's like the Bulldogs have it in them because they did that game against the Panthers. But that's the only good game they've had this year. If the Raiders win this week, they don't beat the Panthers. But if they did beat the Panthers, you're going to go below them. If the Titans beat the Roosters, which is unlikely tomorrow, you will go below the Titans. You will be in 14th. And if you lose this game by, like, you're down by 14 right now, so you're minus 49. You're now minus 63. You're lucky the Eels are minus 121. Because otherwise, there'd be a chance they could even go above you. But, like, they're minus 121. Johnny says, what's that flipper? There's a doggy drowning in the water. Jess says, thanks, Sean. Let's hope so. What did Sean say? Jess, a good chance. Oh, Jess, yeah, no, plus 30 and a half. 30 and a half points, you'll get that. The Dolphins will 100% get past 30 points for mine. Unless, like a miracle. This would take the most miracle of miracles for the Dogs. They are just putrid to watch. First tackle now for the Dolphins. They'll beat the 13. If the Dolphins... But the thing is, the commentary is saying if the Dolphins for 80 minutes and put 50 points past most teams, it's like, sure, but their game plan right now is working. The Dolphins have changed what they did last year on a positive level. They have earned their right to attack through defense. They had to defend the first 30 minutes of this game. They were only down by 12 points to 4. Thanks to the Bulldogs, they then were able to get back into the game by scoring a couple tries at the end of the first half. Or scoring a try at the end of the first half, and then... No, scoring a couple of tries at the end of the first half to take the lead 14-12, and they've gone on with it from there. The Dolphins have done it the right way. Don't tell them to score from the outset, because then their defense is going to lack. Don't tell them to focus on the attack for the first 80 minutes. At the end of the day, right now, this is the way the game style should be for the Dolphins, as long as they earn their right to attack through their defense. You cannot complain about what the Dolphins have done. The first 30 minutes was pathetic, but also they defended, they kept themselves in the game, the Dogs were awful, and now the Dolphins are going to win this game probably 13 plus. You know, it's as simple as that. So I don't know why the commentary is suggesting to change their game plan around when it is working for them right now. And I'm always critical of the Dolphins because I did not think that they were showing any signs that they were going to change from last year. But they have changed from last year in the last couple of weeks, and you've got to give them their positive comments. But this game is a bit of a weird one to review because the Dogs are as bad as they are. First tackle hit the 40, but it's not the Dolphins' fault for how bad the Dogs are. 20 minutes to go here at the game, folks. Hit that like button and subscribe if you're new around here. And if anyone disagrees with the thought process, please use the chat and let me know why. 6 again for the Dolphins at the 50. Here you go, Jess. It's probably going to happen on this set. Herbie Farnworth is going to be at the 40 on first tackle. GTR's the way this year is going was Panthers... Granny, I've got Panthers Roosters right now. Second tackle now at the 30. I'd love to be proven wrong tomorrow, though. They give out to Isaiah Katoa, off to Jack Bostock. He steps, he goes. He will be taken down to the 23 on third tackle. Jess goes to right in the punt, had a few wins now. Jess flies, mate. Jess is flying on the old punt. Knows what she's doing. Fourth tackle now at the 15. Up the Dolphins, you're really a big threat. Bulldogs, come on. Like, if they show consistency... Oh, easy try. Way too easy. Isako, back on the inside. Oh, Bostock's try. It's nice. It's a difficult kick for you, Jets, but there's 19 and a half minutes to go. It guaranteed happens. Bulldogs, you still may concede 50. You may. You may bring Parramatta within range of you. That's a good try for the Dolphins, though. Jack Bostock will score on his 30 points at 12 with 19 minutes to go here of the game. That's a great pass. Jackson's Dogs for the wooden spoon. They're playing like it, but they're not going to be anywhere close to it because the Dragons have been as bad as they have. Sorry, Dragons fans, but you know what I'm saying. No one's... Like, right now, the Dragons are a guarantee for it. But things can change. We're 10 rounds in. Things can change, but right now the Dragons are still 2 full wins behind anybody else. The Storm have 2 wins. They're in 16th position. The Titans have 2 wins. They're in 14th position. Eels have 3 wins. They're in 15th position. So if the Storm were to go and beat the Tigers on Sunday, and then the Titans were to go and beat the Roosters tomorrow, which is unlikely. Storm, Tigers likely with the injuries to the Tigers. Titans, Roosters unlikely despite a changed roster. But if those two teams were to get a win and the Dragons were to lose to the Knights on Sunday or Saturday, I can't remember. I think maybe Sunday. No, it was Saturday. Saturday, 3 p.m. for you guys. If the Dragons lose that game, they could be 3 wins behind everybody else. It's done. It should be done at that point. Larkin says, yeah, woohoo, go the doggies. Dude, how disappointing are they, eh? Fins up, mate, this is pathetic. It is. Yeah. Can the Storm win the NRL this year? What are we doing, Jack? What are we doing? 18 minutes to go here in the game. Jermaine Sarko. Come on, do it for Jess. Get the kick in just so she doesn't have to sweat it. And no sweat for you, Jess. There it is. 32 points to 12 to the Dolphins with 18 minutes to go here in the game. Man of the match is Sarko. Is Sarko absolutely man of the match here? He's got one massive breakaway on the right wing. He's got 3 tries in the game. He's got a try assist now as well. Spectacular stuff from Jermaine Sarko. The Knights are capable of losing to the Dragons, Jake says. I agree, but if the Knights play like they have been with their high-pressure, high-intensity attack and keep the ball away from the Dragons, they might win that game by 50. So, yeah, the Knights are capable of losing it, but I'm definitely backing the Knights. I've seen plenty of attack from them, and I just don't know if the Dragons have it in them to go toe-to-toe with the Newcastle Knights if that game plan of that attack from Holbrook does pan out from the start. 18 minutes to go here in the game. Jess with the £10 donation. Get around you, Jess. Appreciate you for the support. Mate, you are flying on bets this season. You're flying. It's a difficult season to... Well, 30.5 points for the Dolphins. It's like... We did say it's either the Dogs win 1 or 12 or Dolphins win 13 plus. If they're winning 13 plus, they're scoring 30 plus points. So your bet made complete and utter sense. Absolute sense. We're going to have a big game Saturday, but thank you very much for the donate. Playing St. Helens in the semi-final of the Challenge Cup, open for a win. Well, good luck. Good luck. Jackson's Rugby League World Cup this year. Is the Kangaroos printing money at $1.30 odds for a large stake, or is there a risk involved? I think it's buying money. I think the form of a lot of the Australian players, I don't think it's printing money. Samoa will be solid. Tonga will be solid. New Zealand, for mine, you could argue are favourites. I'm not going to say they're favourites. Australia are always going to go in as favourites, but if we're banking off of Australia versus England last year, I still think Australia win the competition. But if you're banking off of the way New Zealand played the Pacific Cup against Samoa and Tonga, compared to Australia playing England in that 3-game series in England, we whooped them, but it was also awful gameplay from Australia. Whooped them, but still awful gameplay from Australia. So disappointing. You would be probably leaning towards New Zealand. I don't think it's printing money at all. I think it's going to be a heavily competitive World Cup, but I do feel like the final will probably be Australia versus New Zealand again. Jess says, I only do a bet on what you guys say when I'm listening in. Oh, good stuff, Jess. So third tackle down to 25. Get up the 18th. I don't know what you're saying, Daz. Fourth tackle now at the 35. Lagus, it's actually pathetic to think the Dogs right now are only about 1 step above the Dragons. Well, no, you're still 2 wins above the... Well, you've got, 3 wins this year? They've got 0. So, no, that's going past... You should be saying above the Titans, or, you're... Actually, the Eels haven't had a bye yet. You haven't had a bye. Their points differential's not enough, but if they beat the Cowboys tomorrow, then technically you're below the Eels. Second tackle, and you know how bad they've been this year. 25 out from their own line of the Dolphins. Mind you, this has been... Was it 12-0 to the Dogs? No, it wasn't. It was 12-4 to the Dogs. So this has been 28 unanswered points here from the Dolphins. I still wonder how this team beat Penrith. It's astounding, isn't it, Ibrahim? It's astounding. Dolphins now fifth tackle at the 45. Jess, put a bet on Josh King in the Storm game. Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him, Jess. If you're going to bet on the Storm game, that's a penalty to the Dolphins 10 metres out. You might have 50 put past you. You may have 50 put past you here, and you deserve it. You deserve every second of it, Dogs. You deserve every second of it. You deserve every second of it. This was a winnable game for you, Bulldogs, 30 minutes in. You were leading 12-4, 30 minutes in, and now the Dolphins up 32-12, 15 minutes to go. They're 10 metres out from your line to put 38 past you with another 13 minutes to go in this game. This is disgraceful. This is disgraceful. Do you think Serrata was under pressure? Not immediately, no. No, I don't. At the end of the day, he still got them into the top 8 twice and top 4 last year. Yes, they haven't won a finals game, but no, you're not immediately reacting like that. But you do need to say to him, sort your shit out. Like, sort your team out, because you are in charge of it. You need to understand what you need to do to change this team to what they were showing beforehand. You and Gus and this organisation decide to blow up a roster that was winning and top of the table last year, halfway through the year. You were the one, way too easy for Nicarima. Way too easy. 36-12 with the covered back 38-12. You're about to get 50 put past your dogs. Olivia, not with the spam. Obviously, I understand what you said before, but not with the spam, please. You know how we operate here on the channel. I can't let the moderators be different to the regular commenters here. Just not with the spam. But try time there for the Dolphins. Too easy, 36-12. It's about to be 38-12. Way too easy for Nicarima. Right through the line there. Nowhere near good enough for the Dogs. Jake says Bulldogs should replace their entire team with actual dogs. Yeah, maybe. Jimmy says Penrith boys had money on the Dogs. Nothing else makes sense. Well, for mine, the only thing that makes sense is that the Dogs got knocked out by the Panthers last year in the finals. It was like the adrenaline was rushing through their bodies so much to get their revenge and also to get their season back on track that they put everything they had into that game. They win that game. The Panthers came in a little bit underdone. They threw the ball to grass a lot. They gave the Dogs a lot of opportunities, and the Dogs pounced on it. And then it's like they thought that they were back after that result, and then went to the Eels, who had lost by 50 to the Titans the week beforehand at home, had already given up 50 to a second-last Storm team in the first round of the season, and had given up 48 points to that Panthers team. And it's like the Dogs thought, we're going to just win this game. We're back. And then they got pumped. And then since then, everything's down. Galvin is not a 7. Burton's not even 6, really. He's not a 6. I know you love him, Dogs fans. He's not a 6. He's not a 6. Haven't been the team, but he's not a 6. Michael Galvin's not a 7. He's a 6. You don't have a 9. And I said this pre-season. You don't have a 9. Bailey Hayward is not good enough to be your starting week-to-week 9. He's just not. No. Oman Sauce's dog season over looked pretty poor. Mathematically and technically speaking, I can't say it, but you can't back him in for a top 8 position right now. No way. Not right this very second. Does Sarko have the best kicking game in the NRL? Is Sarko the best kicking game? Are you talking about like conversion kicking? If you're talking about conversion kicking, that'd be Nathan Cleary. Burton's going to Perth. I know those rumours have been around for a while, but I swear I saw... oh no, that's gone out in the full from the Dogs. Oh my god. Oh my gosh, Canterbury, please. Please. I don't even care. I'm not even a Bulldogs fan. I don't even care, but please just show that you are deserving to be a rugby league team right now. They've kicked the ball out in the full. So, well, I don't know why the Dolphins have got that ball at the 40, but whatever. Dogs fans should go to sleep. Have a good day at work tomorrow. Better luck next year, boys. They are off to Bali very, very quickly. Second tackle. Boy, this has been bad. Fins up, mate. Scrabble looks a bit angry. What are you angry about? This is the team you thought could be better than a team that was 9-1 after 10 games last year in first. It really is just a sad sight to see at the Dogs right now. But I know a lot of Dogs fans, Dogs haters, a lot of Dogs haters would be just obsessed with this right now. They'd be loving life. Eels fans, you shouldn't be talking shit. But with that being said, you'd be over the moon. I'll kick this ball up. Kick it down. There is a penalty to the Dogs. Yeah, he did get shoved in the back there. Penalty to the Dogs. Cleary versus Sarko would be an epic duel. Cleary wins it, but in regards to if you're talking specifically in regards to conversion kicking, Cleary wins it, but Sarko is a good kicker. I'm glad I will never have to feel how Serrata is feeling right now. Well, it's weird because like with what I do here, like I try to put myself into the perspective of fans of teams, and I try to, like I do feel with certain teams right now, and it just feels shit from a Dog's perspective, and I just. with the expectations they had pre-season to where they are right now, there's just an overwhelming sense of what the fuck has gone wrong here. That is the overwhelming sense. Coming from a person who's not even a Dogs fan, but I'm trying to see it from your perspective. And that's surely the way, from an emotional standpoint, not from like a vocal standpoint. Vocal standpoint, I know how to speak. But from an emotional standpoint, it would feel just so 2021. When it's not that bad, but it would feel so much like that based off of the expectations. This is the third tackle the Dogs have had in the Dolphins half in the second half, by the way. 10 minutes to go of the game here, folks. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe for new round here. Dogs to the left. Lachlan Galvin. Bronson Seri kicks it through. Hamiso taken down to the 5. And Dolphins ball. Do you think that there might be a bit of a hangover from Marnie schooling the Dogs last week? Why? This has been every game this year. What? They've had one positive result this year, really, for mine, and that was against the Panthers. Outside of that, the Raiders game was nothing special. The Dragons game was definitely not something special, and they've lost every other game. So why would it be a Cowboys thing from last week? Dylan Brown, Cook and Bra, that's not crazy. What's Dylan Brown got to do with anything here? What's Dylan Brown got to do with something? Anything? It says this season doesn't make any sense at all. The Dogs beat Raiders, the Raiders beat Manly, and Manly beat Dolphins by 50, and now the Dolphins have beaten the Dogs by 26. That happens every year. That always happens in regards to you can find results everywhere. Dogs are away here. Nari to 25 to 30 to 35 to 40. First tackle, good run from Nari. 9 minutes to go here. That happens every year, man. It's not. It doesn't really prove anything because you can find results that bring the circle of rugby league together. Logan says, Salmon might be the most 2D player in attack. Bloke is so boring and basic. We have a fiery young prospect in Finau Latu itching for a crack, and it's needed right now for him to rip in. What amazes me is that Seraldo and Gus were happy to just blow up their spine and blow up their team when in first position in the competition. But yet they won't really blood any youngsters, and they force Lachlan Galvin to the 7 when he's not a 7. They refuse to make changes. Josh Curran into the game for the first time with 8 minutes to go. There's your favourite player, Lagan. Fifth tackle now for the Dogs. They're 10 metres away from the line. They go to the left, short ball, Samuel Hughes, and he will be held up over the line at the in goal. He'll be held up over the line. That shall be fifth tackle, and it will be Dolphins ball at the 20. But they're going to go to the bunker, but he doesn't score. Corey Skates, how many players from last year's Bulldogs are not on this year's team? Toby Sexton, Reid Marnie. Who else? I'm sure that there's others that I can't think of off the top of my head. This is held up for sure. 1,000,000% held up. Dogs fans, can you give a better answer there, or is it just Toby Sexton and Reid Marnie? Two of their spine players. Jimmy James says, should be over the moon, but the Eels are just as shit. Eels and Dogs fans can all cry into a beer together. Correct. But at least the Eels beat the Dogs. Yeah, supporting on-field decision. Have you seen the stat that the entire Bulldog spine has 4 try assists between them before this game? That's insane. Maybe that's because Bailey Hayward isn't a 9. Lachlan Galvin isn't a 7. Matt Burton for mine isn't a 6. And Con Tracy, you can't expect him to be carrying the workload from a fullback. I've never seen self-sabotage like this in my life. It is. It is self-sabotage. Even this game has been self-sabotage to allow the Dolphins to remain in the game, and then they've blown the game out from there. 38-12 with 7 minutes and 40 seconds to go here of the game. They roll it out to the left-hand side of Flegler, and Flegler now will be at the 33 on third tackle. Is Isako that good, or is Seri and Sua's defence that bad? Bit of both. Isako's he can be a really good winger. He can also have his off moments. But also Seri and Sua today have been just horrific to watch defensively. Taking up the 50 on fifth tackle. Like, so that's about it, Corey. I guess also Curtis Morin, but he was in and out for us. Yeah, Curtis Morin's a hard one to sell in that capacity, but yeah. And Connor Tracy gets the grab there. Back to Jonathan Stewart at the 15. Jeremy says, what will Seraldo's excuses be post-game tonight? You can't have excuses for this, man. Surely not. You just can't. You've got to be held accountable. Jacob Preston brings the ball here to the 45. Look at me with the Titans over the years. I used to circle jerk the team regardless. I used to say I'd always stick on the positivity, blah, blah, blah. It never worked out. And this is a consistent problem with the Titans fans over the last 20 odd years. They never held the team accountable. Now they are. In the last year or so, the Titans' mindsets have adjusted, similar to what mine was over the last probably 3 years of me kind of adjusting that thought process. It doesn't help when you don't call the problem out. It doesn't help. And you are not any less of a fan. Oh, that's easy. Knock on Connor Tracy. Lachlan Galvin, that's a hospital pass to Connor Tracy. That's a hospital pass from Lachlan Galvin. And Dolphins will get the ball here at the 20. And there is a penalty coming up to the Dolphins as well. You have to hold your team accountable. If you are messaging abuse to players and violent threats, you are an idiot. You are not a part of this conversation. And I hope the authorities deal with you because you are a moron. But you need to criticise what we are seeing on the field. You need to criticise what is happening within the club. Otherwise, they will never be held accountable for their actions. And I'm glad the Titans, over the last year, have decided to be held accountable for their actions in a lot of ways. And this week is very heavy proof that this club is trying to change. Because Zane Harrison has been on the back burner for years now. He's 20 years old now. We were waiting for that time. However, this club has never made massive changes to their club. As in Des Hasler era, as in Justin Holbrook era, there was never like a major shift in regards to just adjusting the team. But this week, they decided to put Zane Harrison to the 7, Jaden Campbell to the 6. Pre-season, this wasn't a thought process. They had AJ Brimson the 6, and they had Jaden Campbell 7. And then they had Jaden Campbell 7, and they had Lachlan Lee 6. And now they've completely switched that from their pre-season ideology. So now they're starting Cooper Bye. He hasn't started all year. He's now starting for the Titans on tomorrow night. And we're also seeing Jensen Tamapo come in, but that's because of an injury to Sila Tilifaimani, but it could have happened anyway, to be fair. So the point is that this club has tried to hold itself accountable. I'm glad the fans have gone onto the same wavelength, and that's probably the difference right now between the Titans and the Dogs. It probably is the difference. Because the Dogs refuse to make changes and they refuse to acknowledge their errors and refuse to acknowledge they are not the team from last year, they are not the team from 2024, and they are going backwards at a rapid rate. At a rapid rate, and it's because two people in charge, or just the organisation in charge, believes that everything they touch turns to gold, when right now, since last year, when they made that big change, everything they've touched turned to shit. And the difference is, the Titans one is due to bad form, where they've changed their entire team this year. The Titans one is due to bad form in changing multiple positions. The Dogs, they changed their entire spine, the most important positions on the field in their team, when they were in first place. First, out of 17 teams. They were in first place and decided to completely bomb their team. And now you are seeing the ramifications of that bomb. You are seeing the ramifications for it. I don't know if they're going to get the feedy bomb here, said Watson, but it feels like it regardless. Jonathan says, I love the Dolphins to win this game. Well, they're definitely going to win this game. Went away for 25 minutes and the Dogs got belt to us. They definitely got belted, he said. Old Melon Sauce, I thought Leo Thompson was an underrated signing, but he's very quiet so far. He actually had a really good game last week, but just the 3 errors really crushed him. If we look at the stats here, on the player stats for Leo today, I also agree with you because I called it as my breakout play for the year for the Dogs, but no one's going to be a breakout play for the year this year. 55 minutes for Leo today. 14 runs for 124 run meters with 55 post contact. That's very solid. 2 tackle breaks, 1 offload, 35 tackles made for 2 missed, and no errors in the game. He's not the problem. That's not bad stats. You can't blame Leo Thompson for today. That's not quite. That's pretty loud, really. I think that means that he's got the most run meters across this entire team here today. For the forwards anyway, because Anari Tuala's got 151. He is the second highest run meters for the team here today, Leo Thompson, only behind Anari Tuala, and that's because Anari Tuala's made a couple of line breaks. Leo's actually had a pretty good game. It's quiet, but that's because the Dogs have been so poor. 3rd tackler at the 40. They have to go back to pre-Sexton and play Burton at half. No. No. I would prefer Burton halfback than him in the 6. Oh, someone comes away here, but no. Cobbers away. Too easy try time. There's 40. 42-12 with the kick to come. What if they get this kick? The 50 bomb is still on. The Dolphins will hit. There's a Broncos fan celebrating the Dolphins like crazy, and that will never beat the allegations of Dolphins fans and Broncos fans in disguise, or Broncos fans and Dolphins fans in disguise. You guys support each other. There's a Broncos fan going crazy. He's just there. So it's 42-12 with the kid to come. Is Galvin going to end up like Ilias? No, Galvin's better than Ilias. He's just being played incorrectly. Galvin's better than Ilias. Peter S. says, Fano wouldn't stop picking his son until he got fired. Do you think Serraldo will make the same mistake with Galvin and Hayward? Hayward should not be in your team list next week for the Bulldogs. I don't know who comes in. I don't know what you do. But Hayward should not be your 9. I don't know who should be your 9, but it should not be Hayward. Please change that. It shouldn't have been your 9. He shouldn't have been your 9 pre-season. He shouldn't be your 9 in the first 5 rounds of the season. He shouldn't be the 9 now for the Bulldogs. I don't know who comes in because I don't know your team well and truly in depth in regards to your depth situation. Please change your 9. How come Broncos fans don't support the Gold Coast when they play a Sydney team? Oh, but they say they don't care. They say they don't care though. They say there's no rivalry there. Tracy has missed so many one-on-one tackles for tries. He started off this game looking ripper, but he's finished off the game quite poor. Yeah, the commentary saying the same thing that I was saying. You know, we just thought Dogs, backs against the wall, chance of a 1-12 to sneak up and get a desperate win. And they were proving us right in the first 30 minutes where the Dogs were up 12-4. But they just kept making knock-ons. They allowed the Dolphins to stay in the game at halftime. They gave up 2 tries essentially in the last 10 minutes. Or 2 tries in the last 10 minutes. 1 try in the last 5 minutes. Whenever a team scores in the last 5 minutes of a half, Isako will make the kick. There's a chance here for a Fitty bump if they score in this set. 44-12. The Dogs have not scored a point since they led 12-4. Well, just ridiculous. I'm not unhappy, just like the commentary is saying too, with the fact that the Dogs had every opportunity backs against the wall to actually sneak something here today, but they fell back into the same bullshit rhythm that they have every week so far. Now, let's see who the man behind the fin really is, a Broncos fan. Bestport says BK tipped the Bulldogs, by the way. Well, if you hear at the beginning of this stream, I did sit on the fence a little bit, and I said that, there's a knock on there from the Dolphins. I did sit on the fence a little bit here, and I said that it's either a Dolphins 13 plus or a Dogs 1-12. And I was happy enough with the first 30 to say, okay, surely the Dogs can at least keep this close and have a real crack at this. And this is what the commentary is saying too. They're on the same wavelength, but they're just so disappointing, dude. They really are. They're just diabolical to watch. And the Dolphins were so bad for 30 minutes, but they didn't capitalise on it, the Dogs. And the Dolphins, when the Dogs knocked the ball on and dropped the ball, there's a sin bin here for the Dolphins. 44 seconds to go here. Sin bin for the Dolphins. Is that Finifuiaki? I don't know. They're showing the referee right now. Yeah, it's Finifuiaki goes to the bin. So, no, I stand by what I said. And I think that a lot of people can understand where that thought process was coming from until the Dogs returned back to what the Dogs are. Concepts, I look forward to you saying the same thing Saturday with the Dragons. Dragons is a different story. There was no expectations for them pre-season. None whatsoever. There was no expectations for them. You don't get the same criticism because you're contextually different. You have to go into a period now where you're trying to adjust out of the Fano era. You're under Dean Young now. You've got Cade Reed as your halfback. You must stick with him there. And you've got a long way to go. Dogs, Jonathan Sewer. Sewer will be taken down 3 metres after the line, 3rd tackle. You're a completely different context, bro. The Dragons will get ripped, but not for the same reasons the Dogs are getting ripped at all. Crichton kicks his ball through, and that is going to be kicked over the dead ball line, and that's the end of the game. 44-12 with the final score here for the Dolphins, and well-deserved, Dogs. You deserve this. So now you've gone down to 32-point loss here. That means you will go to minus 59, minus 69, minus 79, minus 81. If the Raiders win and the Titans win this week, which is unlikely, but if they both win, you would go into 14th. Eels aren't winning by 40 against the Cows, but if the Eels win, they'll be equal with you. There is a chance you go into the bottom 4 this week. There just simply is. It is rough to watch them right now, best sport. Like, people can be the biggest haters of all time in regards to a team, but when you love rugby league and you're passionate about rugby league, you want to see the best. You want to see the best playing the best. You want to see good positive responses from teams. You want to see close games. Unfortunately, this hasn't been a close game. Whoever was betting on the over before, whoever bet on the over, well done. The Dolphins were able to pull it across themselves. Someone says, I didn't watch the second half and just turned it on now, and the Dogs just back to being a shit team. Until proven otherwise, yeah. Until proven otherwise. Crichton, awful form. Dogs, no attack. Galvin's not a 7. Bailey Hayward shouldn't be in the team. They've got nothing in regards to Jamin Salmon. They've got nothing really in regards to the forwards. Leo Thompson is their best forward right now, but people are seeing this Dogs team and thinking he's got no impact on the team. Again, we go into Leo Thompson's impact here today. Leo Thompson, 57 minutes played. He got 14 runs for 124 metres, 55 post-contact, 4 tackle breaks in this game, 1 offload, 35 tackles made for just the 2 missed tackles. You cannot blame Leo Thompson. Who you can blame in this game right now? 7 tackles made for 5 missed tackles, Jonathan Sewer. Connor Tracy, 2 tackles made for 5 missed tackles. He made 3 extra missed tackles on the amount of tackles he had to make. 41 tackles made for Bailey Hayward, but he still missed a whopping 6. 41 is great, but 6 missed tackles is still a lot. There are multiple players here with 4+ missed tackles. Seteli Tupanua, Jamin Salmon, Bailey Hayward. I understand volume, but then that back line, Jonathan Sewer, 7 tackles made for 5 missed tackles, and Connor Tracy, 2 tackles made for 5 missed tackles is diabolical. And Bronson Terry, 13 tackles made for 3 missed tackles. So still not spectacular, but at least he made 13 tackles made there. Defensively, just nowhere near close enough to being good enough there. And then in regards to the run meters, you're obviously going to expect backline players to get over 100 metres. But in regards to the forwards, you've only got Leo Thompson at 124 and Jacob Preston at 115. Bailey Hayward ran 2 times today for 8 fucking metres. Bailey Hayward ran... So what is Bailey Hayward's purpose? Is my question to you Bulldogs fans. We're going to sit around here and have a chat. When these games finish, I'm pretty happy to sit around for about 5 to 10 minutes and conversate about it. But Bailey, and if you have a question about the Dolphins, should have thrown in the comment section, because I know we're focusing heavily on the Dogs because they're the story right now. But Bailey Hayward's ran 2 times for 8 run meters today. What is his purpose actually here for? He had 2 runs for 8 run meters, 3 post-contact meters, no tackle breaks in this game. He had 41 tackles made for 6 missed tackles and 1 ineffective. So is he essentially just meant to be a defending hooker for you? Bailey Hayward right now is reminding me a lot of the output that we see from Sam Verrills, where he's not an attacking hooker by any stretch of the imagination. He's on the outer from the Titans. They're letting him go. And Sam Verrills makes a bucket load of tackles and fantastic defensively, but attacking-wise does nothing. But also Bailey Hayward's missed 6 tackles here. But what has he done outside of that? He got hooked as well, 72 minutes. Bailey Hayward got hooked in this game. Who came on for him? Can someone in the chat let me know who came on for Bailey Hayward? Who played the 9? Because that should be that should be what you do in the next couple of games. Expert says, I'm not even confident in the Dolphins. That just looked like the Dogs giving up. I give fair dues to the Dolphins. Like, at the end of the day, they earned their right to attack, which is what we call pre-game. We said the Dolphins are earning their right to attack, and then when they're through their defense, and then when they do get their chance to attack, they're putting a score past teams. That's what you see with Stevie Smith and Marnus Labuschagne kind of dealing cricket on that same kind of terminology, where they'll wait it out, they'll earn their right, and then bang, they'll go absolutely boom. That's what the Dolphins have been doing. Look at the game against the Panthers. Look at the game against the. You can argue the Warriors in a lot of ways. You can look at the game against the Titans, per se. They definitely are a second-half team, the Dolphins, for sure. But they are earning their right to attack. Josh Curran came on. So you're saying Josh Curran played the 9, Blake? Did Josh Curran play the 9 for the last 8 minutes of that game? Because Bailey Hayward was hooked. 73 minutes, the last 7 minutes of the game. So someone has come on and played, and Bailey Hayward's been taken out, which shows to me he should be 80 minutes. 73 minutes shows to me that he's an 80-minute player, but they've hooked him. So that means that Cireldo has noticed that he's not good enough. And to amplify it even more, hold on. Someone says, and to amplify it even more, they don't have a half that can make off their shit pack with a long-range kicking game. Been saying this, why Fogarty has completely transformed our team, can make up. Lachlan Galvin's not a 7. Not a 7. Sean O'Sullivan replaced Hayward. So Sean O'Sullivan went to the 9. So who played the 6 then? Peter. So if you're saying Sean O'Sullivan moved from the 6 to the 9, then who played in the 6? I'm looking across their team. Unless like Contracy never moved up there. Unless Stephen Crichton moved into that position with all his yapping about being in the halves in the last week or so. I don't understand who on their team has come into the 6. Yeah, let me go back and look. Oh yeah, go back and have a look at who's played that 9 in that last 7. Crichton played 6. Crichton had, in his history, when he played the Panthers and got a crack in the 6 was bad, and when he played the Bulldogs and got a crack in the 6 was really bad. I would not be putting Crichton into the 6. But if he played in the 6 here today, that would be interesting. But he's not a 6. Bretton says Salmon. So Jamin Salmon played the 6. Yikes. Dogs, you are in trouble, man. Seb1 says, at least that shit's over for the week. Just got to get through the Dragons and Eels now to survive another week. Titans Roosters could be a blowout tomorrow. Hopefully I'm wrong, but Titans Roosters could be a blowout tomorrow. I'm not expecting great things. I'm just wanting to see Zane Harrison get a crack, and hopefully we can put in a bit of an effort. But anyway, I think that'll do us here for the day. Good win for the Dolphins there. They win by, so it was 7. Good win for the Dolphins there today. They will get a 32-point swing points differential-wise. They go to 10. They will actually, fun fact, go above the Broncos into 9th position. Broncos, you go to 10th position. You must win against Manly, otherwise you will continue to drop. Sharks, you're in a bit of a danger range right here because the Dolphins will go to -1, +9, +19, +21. So if the Sharks lost by 16 points on one of the Rabbitohs, they would go below the Dolphins, and the Dolphins would go into the top 8. So there you go. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you. Obviously, Hayward had 1 run for 5 metres last week. Oh, it's painful to see, dude. It's painful to see. Not a good look when Serrato has done this chopping and changing every game. 100%. But all right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Obviously, we've got the Roosters versus the Titans in the early game. I'll be live an hour before that. And then we'll be moving straight into the North Queensland Cowboys versus the Parramatta Eels. Obviously, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. I appreciate you as usual. And I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.